homebistro.com. Freshly prepared, home-delivered, restaurant-quality gourmet meals delivered straight to your home. Choose from over 50-plus gourmet meal options cooked by world-class chefs and delivered frozen, ready to eat within minutes and no commitment. Welcome to the One Shop Gourmet Food Delivery, specializing in affordable options to eat right and feel great. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Every ingredient is handpicked to the highest standard. And why you should buy from homebistro.com? Restaurant quality, made with natural ingredients, delivered right to your door. Overnight shopping is available. Diabetic, paleo, heart health, and vegetarian options to eat. Doing business since 1999. Courteous, knowledgeable, and professional support. Complete PCI compliant SSL security ordering, and great meals. Choose from some of my favorite dishes: the Mediterranean chicken with orange honey sauce, the charbroiled chicken romesco, or the grilled chicken breast with sweet and spicy vegetables. No matter what you choose, you can't lose with homebistro.com. Eat great, feel good, and save some money with homebistro.com. Hit the link in the description section below for more information. Who that family? Check out the Pro Shop. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform stores where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and who that is.
The Pelicans post-game report on the PPR Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now tuned into the Pelican post-game report. Big ups to the family members. Appreciate y'all chiming in on this live edition of the Pelican post-game report. Much love to you guys. Appreciate you being in the building for this Saturday stream. Much love to the flock. Big ups to you guys. Please feel free to hit upon the like button. So we joining you guys a little later than what we supposed to. We came in a little late. I had a function that I was doing, a celebratory situation with my niece. I'd like to say congratulations to Caitlin. She graduated and is attending Loyola, going to hopefully be the family's first doctor. So, that's a big positive. I wanted to show her some support. And once again, I apologize to the flock for being about an hour late, but I hope you guys understand. So much love to you guys. I'm in the building. Big Q for all things Pelicans. We got brother DC in the building as well, chiming in this one. And I think DC is, I think he's right now chiming in from the island. DC, how you doing? Can't hear you way back down there.
Man, you muting my mic, bro. That's what it was. You mute my mic. You're trying to shut me off so you can talk your island talk. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Big ups to the flock is my dog DC in the building. State of the Pelicans, what's happening, brother Jerry Paul? What's happening, fam? Jasper Bowden. Much love to you. Pelicans Nola as well is in the building. Big ups to the fam. John Thompson was flocking. Latrell Pollard, what's up, Latrell? You better get out of here. You better stop that hate and get out of here. Big ups to the fam. What's up, Kenneth? Who that to you, fam? Jabbar, what's happening, Jabbar? Who that to you? Nola Bros, what's up, T? My dog Teal.
Chill.
My dog Teal in the building. Much love to you, Teal. All right, and the rest of the flock, man. Big Sean, what's up, Big Sean? Who that to you, fam? Good to see you, brother Damien. Who that to you, fam? Good to see y'all guys in the building. Appreciate y'all, man. Please feel free to hit up on the like button, family, as we stop on jumping on in. And in this episode, the Pelican Post Game Report, we're going to be covering. This one's called Media and Fans Blame SVG for Pelicans Playoff Failure. We got several news articles that we're going to cover in this one as well. So we're going to break it down for the family members. And after we get through these articles, we're going to open up the lines of communication for the family members so they have an opportunity to jump in and spit their game as well on this episode of the Pelican Post Game Report. So with that being said, hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, please join this flock. Hit the subscribe button and join some of the most dedicated and intelligent Pelican people in the business, talking that real deal about the Pelicans. We in this thing, man, for real. 5 years, DC. We just finished the 5 years covering it, man. 5 years of Pelican Post Game Report talking, keeping it real deal. Holyfield all the way through, my fam. So how you doing on this weekend, bro? Happy Memorial's Day weekend to you.
I'm enjoying it, man. Got a chance to spend a little time with the family, similar to yourself today, bro. I did that yesterday, you know what I'm saying? So amazing thing, feeling pretty good, bro. Other than every time I turn on the TV and I'm watching these damn playoffs, when I do check them out, then that adds a little bit of depression. I feel like we was at least supposed to be playing right now. Maybe not in another week, but we were supposed to be playing right now. So other than that, though, everything on the up and up, man. And we going to get to talking about some of that tonight. Let some of these frustrations out.
What's up, Josh? Big ups to my dog, Josh, in his bag as well. We get ready on this episode of the Pelican Post Game Report. So without further ado, family, we're going to jump right into it. One of the news articles, we'll put it on the screen for the flock to see. As you can see, Stan Van Gundy had to be the bad guy. Can the Pelican Stars hold team accountable too? And DC, I would say that's not a bad subject line, to be honest with you, title line. But also, he says Stars hold team accountable too. Well, who gonna hold the Stars accountable? And my vantage point, the Stars was a part of it. So anyway, let's get through. We're gonna get through this article. We're gonna go through these, and then of course we're gonna chime in on analysis. This is from the show's friend Scott Kushner, Pelican Post Game Report. A guy he's been on the show before. Like his articles, really smart dude. Let's see what he had to say about it. The one who tells New Orleans Pelicans they're not playing hard enough when they're not playing hard enough. The one who says they're executing worse than the high school team when they're executing worse than the high school team. And then 31-41 season, those messages tend to come up a lot. Each critique, no matter how accurate or pungent, adds a degree of difficulty to the already challenging job of coaching an NBA team, especially in the first year of the job. Coaching a roster led by 20-year-old Zion Williamson, 23-year-old Brandon Ingram required Van Gundy to assume the role, though. And of course, general manager knew that the team was a very young team. That's why we kept telling you get a younger coach that could communicate with them. Oh, well, was he always delivering it at the right times, using the proper language to express himself? No. But when Van Gundy said more often than not reasonable criticism of his enigmatic and dichotomous team, has also levied plenty of condemnation at himself for erroneously coaching mistakes, which cost his team during some of those 14 blown double-digit leads. So unsurprisingly, his style was met with resistance in the locker room. Various resources have said there was tension between Gundy and his players during the season. Typically, a new coach on a disappointing team. Sam Amick, the Athletics National NBA writer, alluded to that friction in a radio interview last week. He said, quote, "In New Orleans, the players are not vibing with the coach," Amick said on KHTK radio. There's an issue there. Van Gundy isn't Elvin Gentry. And that's a good and bad thing, to be honest with you. But the former Pelicans coach has prioritized player freedom, offense, and rest with a 180-degree difference from the style Van Gundy arrived with. And those differences are largely why Van Gundy was a logical choice to replace Gentry last offseason. But it wasn't a pick made without obvious risk, and this was clearly one of them. If things went sideways, how would these young Pelicans react to gruff, business-like coach who publicly demanded accountability? If nothing else, it served as a litmus test for which pieces the Pelicans should prioritize going forward. Those who rebuff Van Gundy's unapologetic style must or might be better off elsewhere, and those who embrace it should show their mettle. But it's more complicated than that. Moving forward, the real challenge is whether the face of the accountability shifts from Van Gundy to Williamson and Ingram. Unquestionable foundations of the franchise were outstanding statistically, but culprits on his team waver in defensive effort and late game execution. And this, of course, what the writer said. I won't go his whole article, but he did make some good points. I think they're both really, really coachable and want to get better and want to be taught and want to be coached. Van Gundy said, I think they've got coached really hard this year because of the situation. Again, not making an excuse because all 30 teams were in the same situation.
You said they didn't get coached real hard, big brother.
Hold on, let's read that again. I don't think they got coached really hard. And that's bull crap because he was coaching them hard. He was yelling at them. Like I said, they turned the goddamn ears off.
Apparently, he must have wanted to do some more yelling, Q.
Well, you're going to give him another season to yell. Let's hope for that breakthrough. But again, not making an excuse because all 30 teams were in the same situation. You just didn't have the practice time early in the year, the early part of the year. Here come the excuses. And you were off the limited, and like your meeting with individual players had to be under 15 minutes total for the day. Listen, bro, miss me with the excuses. 30 other teams had to deal with it, and they got teams in the playoffs right now competing. Don't miss me with the excuses. I don't want to hear it. He said to say they got coached hard, they didn't. They are both very, very coachable. So if this wasn't coaching, but the tensions was still arose, what does it say about Van Gundy's future with the franchise and relationship with his stars? It means that there's a communication and maturity hurdle to overcome. And for his part, Ingram addressed it at his postseason exit interview, saying, it's okay, Ingram said about the relationship with Van Gundy. This is our first year together. He was a different coaching style that I'm used to seeing from most. But I was able to learn a lot of things from him this year and learn what he's all about. And I think he's all about winning. He has a different message than everybody else. He breaks down pretty much every detail of it. It's about winning. Our relationship will be even better because of the year, because of what we went through with C19. I don't know if we have another year like this, what we went through with C19. Him trying to get all his information in to make us a better team. Our communication will be really, really good for the good of our team next year. And if not for Van Gundy, we'll be the one who says if it's not, Van Gundy will be held accountable for it. The team isn't moving on from Ingram or Williamson. For his part, Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations and de facto General Manager David Griffin thinks Ingram is ready to accept, and I just add that last part in there, of course, thinks Ingram is ready to accept the mantle of responsibility. The question is why he didn't accept it last year. After rewarding him, Ingram, that is, a maximum contract worth $158 last offseason. Why didn't that happen this past offseason? The Pelicans put their faith in his growth as a player and lead. Obviously, he didn't return and reciprocate it. And that wasn't just him. It was also the fact that the Pelicans as a whole wasn't ingratiated toward Van Gundy, who was a bit overbearing at times. And while his scoring numbers were steadily strong, the other part didn't fully manifest itself in the fabric of the team last season, and partially why the Pelicans ended up with the NBA's 8th worst record despite featuring 2 All-Stars younger than 24 years old. And, of course, it goes on and on and on. We actually got another paragraph. Let's get through the rest of it because they ain't got too much left. And while his scoring numbers were steadily, I got that one. Let's get this one here. It says, what excites me the most about Brandon is his desire to start growing his leadership muscles a little bit. Griffin said last week, we're going to need Zion to do the same. It's one thing to be really good offensively. It's another to hold your teammates accountable. In order to hold your teammates accountable, both of those players are going to have to become more focal to our defensive game plan as well. I think you're going to see that happen. If not, the tensions with Van Gundy will spill over and leave the team in turmoil and turnover. Van Gundy had to be the bad guy this year, but the future success of the Pelicans hinges on whether or not he alone shoulders the responsibility moving forward. DC, this is Scott Kushner, who also always writes really good and smart articles covering it.
Scott's pretty good.
So he lays this out, man, about Van Gundy having to be the bad guy moving forward. Let's get some taking on here. You heard what he said about SVG's account on his relationship with the players. You heard what Brandon Ingram said because he's just quoting interviews that were played as of recent. Of course, you heard Sam Amick of the Athletic take on the Pelicans as well. The communication issues. That's not nothing new. The Pelican post-game report been yelling that shit for weeks now.
Generation gap, man. I mean, so obviously it's going to be communication issues. That's why we talked about having some of the assistants, which it looks like they've been doing. You hear a lot about Teaspoon. Wasn't hearing much about Corey Brewer, but just guys that were kind of closer to that age kind of bridge that gap, man, or maybe relaying some of the messages that Stan Van Gundy's trying to say in a different way that may, kind of those guys understand, man, because they probably feel like Stan Van Gundy's just nitpicking every little thing. It's like, damn, we can't do nothing right. Like, we do this, and then you complain about that. Like, so it is a communication issue, but the aspect of Brandon Ingram being a leader is something that has to take place. And I think Ingram kind of reminds me his leadership is like Kawhi, like, bro. He doesn't seem like he's really vocal like that. You know what I'm saying? I know he talks, but he seems like he's a more quiet guy, and he's just gonna lead by example. So I'm not sure he's gonna be able to be that vocal leader. You know what I'm saying? And you have teams where that's sometimes the case, where you have guys that I'm sure they open their mouth, but the person that's really vocal or really driving that leadership home, or as sending those speeches, getting people to buy in, sometimes are actually vets. You know, Brandon Ingram is still kind of young, man, to be talking about taking over a full leadership role in that aspect too. You know, he's still got to learn how to lead in that way for as being vocal. If that's going to be who he is. Me, honestly, I see Zion as being more of a guy like that to lead in that way. He seems to have like more charisma. He says little funny stuff. People, not that people don't like Brandon Ingram, but he's just like such a likable guy, man. And I think even him joking about being Stan Van Gundy, you know, the team, everybody ate that up, you know. So Zion seems to be that guy. And until we get him on that level, that's when you're talking about championship contention, in my opinion. Brandon Ingram, I'm sure, can be a leader in his own way, but he's more or less going to lead by example as opposed to being vocal. But Stan Van Gundy, I mean, he's got to take the hit because he's the coach. Who else do you put all the blame on, or the majority of the blame on? Is his system, his design. The guys didn't execute it, or they did execute it, in my opinion. I think they did execute what he asked them to do other than defensively. And offensively, a lot of times we just ran out of different aspects of the game to be able to adjust and adapt to what the other team was doing to us. We took so long to make adjustments. And that cost us a lot of games, in my opinion. Just watching the season and going back and looking at some games, you know, even now, it's like if we would have just started doing this or started doing that a little sooner, we probably could have won this game or won that game. If we'd have called the timeout here or whatever. But, I mean, I guess every team could kind of say that. I ain't letting Stan Van Gundy off the hook. And, yeah, he going to have to be the bad guy and all that, but he deserved to be the bad guy, man. He went out there and the team didn't perform to what we thought it was, so we got to put that pressure on Van Gundy. We got to put it on Zion, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, whatever top-tier guys you want to put the pressure on. Obviously, you can't put a bunch of pressure on role players, but the guys that's supposed to come in there and start, you know, like Eric Bledsoe, he done been pretty much the whipping boy. But, I mean, Steven Adams deserves some of the credit, too, for it not going right. So, Stan Van Gundy, yeah, we probably want another coach, but he here. And for us to make the most of it, we got to hold everybody accountable. And I think that's the one good thing, not the only good thing that he did, but that's one of the one good things that Stan Van Gundy did. He does preach accountability. And when he's coaching like trash, he ain't scared to get behind the podium and say it about himself either. So if he calling the team out, I know a lot of people talk down on that, but if he's willing to call the team out, but he also calls out his errors in front of everybody too on the mic, I mean, what can you say? The guy, he's treating them the same way he treated himself.
This is true. And like I said, man, you take a look at everything that's going on. Like a lot of these writers, I got to give credit to a lot of the writers, man. They did a phenomenal job covering the team this year. And I've often been crucial, you know, if you guys have been following the Pelican, and all of the family members have over the last 5 years or so, we've been doing the Pelican post-game report. We've been some of these writers we have been critical of. And I think at times that's a part of what we're supposed to do as people that follow the team, pay for the team. Because a lot of these writers ain't paying for nothing. They go to the games for free. We paying for it. We pay for the tickets. We pay, you know, we do all of that. The money coming from us, we drive the engine. We the fuel in the engine. And as a result, we demand a better product. So, you know, I'm not going to just let you coast here. So the pressure got to be put on the team as well. If the people covering the team, you're supposed to tell it like it is. And I got to give credit what credit's due to the writers, because they did a fantastic job covering the team this year. I mean, absolutely. I love it. Every majority of all of them was spot on the money. Debo said team was a huge disappointment. Rockets and Warriors had off years. He also says, Kyle, we had JJ Redick, top 5 3-point shooter, made more of spacing and continuity. Thank you, Debo. And Kyle, big ups to Kyle. Pelicans to Kyle. He says, Pelicans to-do list. Bring in the best shooters available. Number 1. Number 2, trade Eric Bledsoe and rid his $16 million. I know that's $16 million. Get that out of here so we can be able to do some stuff. All right, family, as you can see, we got the next article on stream. This one is called Examining the Likely Salary Cap Crunch for the Pelicans headed into the season. We'll go through this one here. It's by Mr. Jacob Rude, who put this one out. As you can see, the New Orleans Pelicans are one of the 2 franchises, along with the Charlotte Hornets, in the history of the NBA to never pay the luxury tax. Despite the boom in money into the NBA over the years, Pelicans have never crossed that threshold, even during the years when Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday leading the team. That makes the upcoming offseason particularly interesting for New Orleans after the disappointing season that saw them not even earn a spot in the play-in tournament. Pelicans are now facing the potential heading into luxury tax for a team that finished as the 11th seed last season. Last summer's acquisition of Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe did not have the impact on the season that the team would have likely wanted. Adams' 2-year, $35 million extension did not seem out of the line given his production in his career. However, receiving the money before playing a game along Zion Williamson, the franchise cornerstone, move forward was a curious decision, according to the writer. While the pairing had some positives on the season, including a ridiculous offensive rebounding rate of 30.6% when they shared the floor, it wasn't the zag while the rest of the league was zigging that the Pelicans anticipated it would be. Adams can still be an impact player on a contender in a different situation that doesn't include a bulldozing big man like Williamson in the front court alongside of him. Eric Bledsoe, though, did not produce the same kind of optimism for his future this season. 1 year removed from the second team all defensive honor, Bledsoe finished the season with New Orleans sporting the second worst defensive rating, trailing only Adams. The offense wasn't any better as the deficiencies as a shooter, while glaring playing alongside of B.I. and Zion, taking the third most attempts from beyond the arc on the team. Bledsoe shot 34.1% on the season. Effectively, the 2 offseason acquisitions anchored down the returning starters in Williamson, Ingram, and Ball, while the starting lineup had a net rating of minus 2.0 as a whole. The trio of returnees minus Adams and Bledsoe had a net rating of plus minus 15.5 this season. This brings the Pelicans to their conundrum this offseason, which includes restricted free agents Ball and Hart. If reports are to be believed, Ball's contract could be in the neighborhood of 18 to 20 million annually after a career season in which he established himself along with Ingram and Zion. Hart, meanwhile, saw his 3-point percentage dip even further below his average this season, but saw his rebounding rate trend in the other direction as he averaged 8 per game and almost 29 minutes per contest.
That's crazy, Q.
I know.
That's insane, bro.
In fact, his rebound rate of 13.8%, according to the NBA stats, put him in the neighborhood of Miami's Bam Adebayo and New York's Julius Randle. And these are rebounding masters.
Everybody that's 4-5 inches taller than him.
A conservative estimate of the contract in 12 to 15 million range annually next season then means the Pelicans could be looking at paying 30 to 35 million to retain Ball and Hart. In recent podcasts, the Hype Soup salary cap experts Yelzy Goslin noted that the Pelicans will be roughly 37 million, including the cap hold for the number 10 pick under the luxury tax line. Number crunch to avoid the luxury tax, which seems like an expectation for ownership given their history, will get really tight really fast. One of the logical conclusions would be to move on from their 2 offseason acquisitions from 2020 that did not blend in with the core that they would be committed to at the trade deadline. The Pelicans were reportedly shopping Bledsoe, though it was a desire to get positive value back in the trade. Following a disappointing year for both the team and guard himself, would the Pelicans be open to cutting ties with Bledsoe at the cost of a draft pick from their war chest of draft assets? Of course.
They better.
And Adams would certainly have more value in a vacuum, but at $17 million owed to him next season, finding a trade partner that can take on his salary without sending much in return is difficult. Teams like Charlotte, the Knicks, Spurs, all may be interested in a big man as teams with cap space and a potential hole in the front court. Shipping out Adams also makes sense from a roster standpoint after a strong second half of the season from Hayes, the number 8 pick in 2019 NBA draft. He would be able to step into the starting lineup at just $5.4 million next season, would be significantly cheaper than Adams. It's all a number crunch. The Pelicans front office is going to have to navigate this offseason. Even if ownership is willing to pay the luxury, which David Griffin stated, was the case under the right circumstances during his exit interview, it makes little sense to do so with a roster that finished outside the postseason last year. Will Adams or Bledsoe's time in New Orleans be short, which will be short then, or will Ball or Hart be the cap casualty in restricted free agency? DC, let's address those questions that this report, a really good article by Mr. Jacob Rule that he left out there. Let's address those concerns right now.
Well, I mean, the Ball and Hart thing is obviously something we've been talking about since the beginning of last offseason, once we realized they didn't extend those guys. And in my opinion, as much as I hate to say it, because I like both of them, honestly, I think we're going to lose one. I don't think it's any way that we retain both of them. Obviously, if we decide to do a sign and trade with Lonzo Ball, then I believe we definitely sign back Josh Hart. Obviously, if we let Josh Hart walk, we let Josh Hart walk because we want to keep Lonzo Ball. You really can't explain paying above $14 million for both of those guys. When you look at our team, the reason they signed Najee Marshall, in my opinion, is to give them the flexibility to let go of either Josh Hart or Lonzo Ball, because he can kind of fill in and do something, I guess, in a way that can complement either one of them being gone. So once we discovered him and they decided they were going to play him major minutes, I pretty much know that Lonzo Ball or Josh Hart, one of them is going to be gone. I would love to keep both of them, but the problem is when we have Josh Hart out there, he's like a two guard that kind of plays like a power forward that has the size of a big point guard. So it's like you can create matchup problems if you were bigger in other areas, but we also got Zion Williamson, who's pretty much the meat and potatoes of our team, and he's like 6'7", playing power forward. So what do you do when you run across size and you got Josh Hart, who you want to play major minutes? Like, how you gonna make that work? And then you look at Najee Marshall, who's like 6'8", and he could come out there and do some of the things that Josh Hart can do. He's gonna hustle his ass off on defense. He can't rebound as good as Josh Hart, but he's a pretty decent rebounder. So then you got Lonzo Ball, who's 6'7". Not a lot of deficiencies with him there, but you paying him $18-20 million, you obviously gonna want him to be better than he was last year to justify that money. But they're gonna have to allow him to play more of his game. And if we want to do point Zion, how's that gonna work? You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of figuring out to do and deciding a strategy on which way we want to go. But I can tell you one thing I do know: the Pelicans want to get shooters. David Griffin came out and said that, and unlike 15 other quotes we heard him make, I don't actually think he lying this time about that one. We're not trading Drew Holiday. We want to keep him indefinitely. Yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely going to get shooters, and Eric Bledsoe, in my opinion, has to go. We got to get him out of here, man. I don't care if we got to give 2 low first-round draft picks. You got to do whatever it takes to get rid of Eric Bledsoe, because you can't turn around and pay him, $19 million to come in there and mess up the chemistry on your team and stank up the joint. Like, you just can't do it. So you got to get rid of him some way. I wouldn't want to give up 2 first-round picks, but I mean, if that's the cost for 2 low first rounds, like maybe the Lakers pick or something, and a future Pelicans pick or something, or at least a high second, you got to do what you got to do. Steven Adams, to me, I think Steven Adams would be easier to move if you actually let him start the season and you implement a system where he looks better. If you decide you want to get rid of him, get him to at least be a double-double guy. And I think you might be able to trade Steven Adams and actually get something back. Or we might lose, one of our young guys, you know what I'm saying, depending on what direction we decide to go. Like if let's say you got rid of Steven Adams and you had to attach Kyra, wouldn't want to do it, but what are you getting back? You know what I'm saying? It might be something you want to look at. So I don't know if they can easily get rid of both of them in the offseason, but I think during the offseason they definitely have to pull the trigger on one of them, man. One of them got to be in the season. One of them got to be before the All-Star break. But I think it's going to be hard for them to move both of them the way we got them, like when we got both of them at the same time, which I thought was retarded. Like, I didn't understand us going and doing all that, and we still ain't even know what we wanted to be as a team. Like, it's just dysfunctional sometimes. Like, you hear us talking about we got to grow and we got to figure things out. Well, why the hell would we want to tie up damn near, what was it, like 40-something million in those two guys? But we got to grow and figure out what direction we want to go. And then you sign Steven Adams to an extension without ever seeing how it's going to work. Like, I understand when you trade for a guy and you gave up a pick for him, you don't want to just lose him for nothing. So you kind of want to sign him. But I do believe we would have had the bird rights to him for next season, right? If we wanted to bring him back.
Yeah,
so I didn't really get the extension.
Well, let me fill in the blanks on that, DC. The reason why the Steven Adams trade wasn't going to happen because he had the power to deny the trade. But in order for the trade to go through from OKC, he wanted an extension. And the Pelicans had to agree to the extension. And then once that happened, he accepted the trade from OKC there so they can circulate everything. Because remember, they set it up at first and then came back on the back end and reformatted it and changed it around and then made it through. So, I mean, but in the end, the question does have to be asked about, some of these players. And I love the breakdown you gave about what Hart. I think Hart, it's a lot of questions have to be asked. Is Lonzo Ball the point guard of this team? If Stan has him running at off guard, you give him the money and sign him? Do you give him the 18, 20 million and make him the point guard? Is he then the point guard? Or do they have somebody else in mind for the point guard position for the Pelicans? And Lonzo doesn't fit the parameters because as an off guard, he did a pretty decent job. But remember, his best value, in my opinion, of watching Lonzo Ball for all the years I've been watching him is at the point guard position. He's a facilitator. He does at times had this passive aggressive style, but maybe that's a part of it was schematic, which him having the ability to be able to go aggressive when he needs to, because perhaps a scheme or Van Gundy saying something else to the contrary, which we've broken on this show before about him squashing out their aggressiveness at times and force him to do stuff like that, as opposed to let the game flow. He gets in there and start throwing wrenches around to try to get it to go his way. So, I mean, but it'll be interesting to see with Josh Hart. Josh Hart at the right price. Let me say it to you, the rest of the family members, because Josh Hart.
What's the right price, Big Q?
I mean, DC. I mean, Hart can easily go out on the market and get that 10 million. He can get a little bit more than the 10 million. It's going to be double digits. They'll pay for Josh Hart because with Josh Hart brain, you sit up here and see, we read the article that he averaged 8 rebounds as a goddamn small forward, and that's not even his position. He playing out of position at the 3. He's actually a 2, but he's playing at a 3 and getting 8 rebounds a game, matching up with Bam Adebayo, Montrezl Harrell, and who was the other guy? There's Montrezl Harrell
and Bam
Adebayo, and what was the other guy's name? I mean, those are serious rebounders. Yeah, they're serious rebounders, these dudes were, man, that you looking at matching him with. So before we throw, I mean, and then not only that, his name is his game. He plays with an intensity, a force that most of those guys are not playing with. He brings that off the bench. Julius, man, come on, man. Come on, man. All these guys are power forwards or centers, 4 or 5 position guys that are bigs that are rebounding the rim. And he's basically a 3 that they had playing out of position at times, playing the 4. And he was still able to do that. So there's value with Josh Hart at the right price. I say 10 million is not bad. And remember, a lot of these guys that ain't worth shit going to be making a lot of money, and on other teams making that kind of money, and they ain't hitting on shit. But Josh Hart will come on your team. He'll help out. He's an additive. Lonzo Ball at the right position helps out. I think he should be considered. And of course, James Johnson at 15 million, no go. No. Absolutely not. 15 million is too much for James Johnson. I like him a lot, but that's way too much money.
I think for 6 million.
6 million for James. If you can keep him at that rate, that's fine. And of course, there are other things to consider. Like we all uniformly agree that Bledsoe has to go.
Too, Big Q.
Yeah.
Between him and Najee Marshall, that's
but Najee got
make up for the loss of a Josh Hart.
That will, but man, listen, you do have Najee, You do have NAW off the bench, but see, that's the question. NAW, Lonzo, BI, Jackson Hayes, these are all first round draft picks that they banking on to make serious contributions coming up next year. Do they put Lonzo Ball at the point position and move NAW into the starting two guard position, DC, allowing him? And then if that's the case, you have Najee off the bench, Josh Hart, or we'll see how it all shakes. But two big questions is where's is Eric Bledsoe? Do they put the piece with him to trade him? I say yes, because you ain't gonna get rid of him no other way. And then the other thing is Steven Adams. That's a big chunk of change that you got to play.
If we get rid of both of them,
you got an emerging Jackson Hayes there, who's really showing you, hey man, I'm ready. And Billy Hernan Gomez, DC, that's super cheap compared what you get to Steven Adams. I heard your point about Q. I keep him up into the half of the season, then trade him. What's the point? What's the difference?
Well, I say that because two reasons. I feel is if you keep him, you can get Jackson Hayes situated and slowly transition him into being a starter instead of just throwing him out there. You can keep ramping his minutes up the way we were doing towards the middle and the end of the season, and we can slowly transition him into being a starter and fill in any gaps that he need to fill in during the offseason, during training camp. Steven Adams is a big reason why Billy Hernan Gomez and Jackson Hayes tremendously got better. Like, he was out there helping. You hear Steven Adams coming there and talk, you say, man, I shouldn't even be starting. These guys are going to take my spot. He joking, but he telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? And he not mad about it. He don't mind helping them and elevating those guys. So, I mean, just a teammate like that, bro, somebody like that got all that experience and actually played close to near all-star level, you know what I'm saying? And he can help this guy. Everything that Jackson Hayes need help with, Steven Adams know how to do. So I would like to see more of that help in training camp and get him to tighten up. Because until I can see Jackson Hayes getting 26, 27 minutes and he pulling down 10 rebounds, I know he's ready. You know what I'm saying? If he can't do that, Jackson Hayes offensively, I believe he's ready. He can give you more than enough, and he actually opens our game up offensively. Defensively, he's right there. He's still got a few little things he need to tighten up defensively. Rebounding, setting screens, knowing where to be on the court. I still think he need work with that, man. And Billy, I mean, what can I say about Billy? Billy don't need much, but I think he could benefit from that too. And the other aspect would be that Steven Adams kind of like, if you look at his career and how he played in Oklahoma and what he was, he kind of underperformed, this year. So I think his numbers could be better. And with better numbers, I think we get a better deal. You know what I'm saying? You play him and you prove what he is. And I saw we ran 2 center lineups and stuff like that. Jackson Hayes can play power forward. Man, if you're strategic and you're smart with your lineups, there's a lot you can do with that with Steven Adams even on the team. So I don't think he holds us back as much as a guy like Eric Bledsoe would. And like I was saying before, how easy is it to pull off 2 trades of 2 guys you just got last offseason and then trade both of them this offseason without getting a banana put in your tailpipe? How easy is that to do? I mean, that's a lot of work, bro. It's a lot of phone calls, a lot of analyzing, a lot of scouting, a lot of figuring stuff out. So I don't think they should put all that pressure on themselves trying to move both of them at the same time.
Well, we're gonna see what kind of direction they're talking about shooters, but we talked about that at the start of the season, and that's a major part of it. What's up, DJ? Big ups to the Pelican family. Let me give a shout out to all the family members before we cover our last article, and then we'll open up the chat. For the state of the Pelicans, much love to you, brother Jared Poor Jr., Jasper Bowden, Pelicans Nola, Latrell Pollard, Kenneth Barnes, Jabari 340, Nola Bros. What's up, Tia?
What's up, Flockers?
Let's say with Big Sean, Damian. What's up, Damian Green? Josh in his bag. Let's see who else we got there. Kyle Skynes. Let's see who else we got there. Debo the guard. Julio is in the building. Julio Monroe Herrera. Big ups to Julio as well. And all the family members that's in the building, man. Appreciate y'all spending y'all Saturday nights with the family. What's up,
What's up,
Young Bloods? The young bloods in the building. What's up, young blood 46? Big ups to you, fam. Appreciate you being here as well. Much love to you. What's up, PJ? PJ Clemens in the building, fam. Go Pels to you, my friend. Tramal. What's up, Tramal? Who that to you? Big ups to you. Trey Joseph's in the building. What's up, fam? Much love to you as well. And all the family members, appreciate y'all stopping by. All right, so with that being said, fam, we're going to jump into our third article right here. And this one is the one that DC sent to me. 12 questionable decisions of the Griffin era and why 2021-2022 feels like a make or break season. Let's get into this article. This one's written by
This
Preston
one pretty
Ellis.
long, bro. I don't know if you're going to want to read this whole article.
Nah, I'm going to just kind of go through, I know, but point by point, I ain't going to read
get
everything.
Them points, yeah, you won't
Right.
catch them points, some of them points.
Right. So let's go over this one, family. Starting off like Zion Williamson simply cannot finish the third season without getting a taste of the playoffs. And on the surface, falling short of the postseason 2 years after moving one of the 5 best players in the NBA is forgivable, even predictable. Pelicans didn't face a shortage of challenges extended beyond the on-court play. In 2019 and 2020, Pelicans were a top 10 team, netting the 36 games that preceded the C-19 stoppage. They had overwhelming odds of reaching the playoffs, according to 538. Zion Williamson's family emergency title kind of tilted the odds before the bubble play. The team imploded from there, cementing Elvin's fate. Zion been at full health. New Orleans squeezed into the play-in and upended the Blazers. Do we see the former head coach at the helm in 2020, 2021? Would the team have stayed the course, keeping Drew Holiday and resigning Derek Favors and passed on the Grizzlies, blah, blah, blah. Now, in 2021, the Pelicans enjoyed much better luck. Net 78 games were lost to injury by their top 5 players during the final 2 months of the season. You can see 25 games lost to Josh Hart, 17 to Ball, 14 to Steven Adams, 11 to Brandon Ingram, 11 to Zion Williams. And they're talking about play stoppages and ease and untimely rash of injuries, not the only burdens the Pelicans face first 2 years under the guidance of Griffin. Look at these points, though. Honorable mention. Waving Christian Wood, which we often talked about, which ridiculous. DC, he over there are averaging 25 plus points for Houston. That
how much
was
better off would we have been, bro, if we just didn't get Eric Bledsoe, didn't trade Drew Holiday. I know he wanted to leave, but we didn't trade Drew Holiday, kept Christian Wood, and just ran with that. Didn't get Derek Favors or nothing. Just ran with that. Maybe sign somebody like Billy Herman Gomez or just a low tier guy like that as a center. I mean, we had Jahlil Okafor. You know what I'm saying? Just ran with them guys. How would that have looked, Q? And then with Zion getting hurt, Christian Wood would have had a real big opportunity to shine. We could have played him and Jahlil Okafor together.
That was your boy Dale the Simp Demps on that. Pelicans held Woods right for the 2019-2020 season.
That was Griffin. That move
at that first year.
Griffin.
Oh, was it? I thought
when Griffin was there, man. That wasn't Demps.
That was his first year, huh?
That was soon as he got in the summer league.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well,
Christian Wood wanted a little bit more money, bro. And I think they're gonna mention that in this article.
But he held it. The Pelicans held his right at $1.6 million, just under $2 million. Wood's agent would have been using that as leverage the following season. The Detroit would score 22 points and average almost 11 rebounds, just under 2 assists, 1 point on 5 on the blocks out of that, and 62 appearances while shooting just under 57% from the field and almost 39% from the 3-point line. He was budding, man. But let's look at the rest of this. Number 12, Dylan, Los Angeles Lakers 2019 first round pick. Was one of them. It's far too early to call this one. Griffin may ultimately win the trade that saw the Pelicans acquire springy big man and Jackson Hayes. We talk about that also with the NAW. Then you talk about Didi Louzada adding to the mix, which he comes over. Number 11, dealing Milwaukee's 2020 first round pick. In the move, we talk about some of these moves as well. And we'll go over each one of these moves. We can't cover the whole article for time. Signing Nico Melli. Keeping JJ ready for the 2020-21 season, mired in controversy with Griffin after being dealt to the Mavericks. After he started talking all that shit.
We were trying to get JJ Redick traded in the offseason, man.
I know, bro.
Trick on that, bro.
I know, bro. We've been calling it. Managing Zion's minutes in 2019-2020. Hiring Stan Van Gundy. That's a big one that we talked about as well. We had our own list of people that we liked. We were really surprised that Van Gundy was a finalist, but then again,
point Zion, Big Q.
Yeah, how about that? overpaying for Steven Adams. The trade wouldn't have been, you couldn't move Eric Bledsoe if the Steven Adams, because all that was a part of it. You had to pay Steven Adams. He had the option in his contract where he had the right to refuse the trade, and he was not going anywhere unless he got his extension. Pelicans were decided to give him
force
that.
Eric Bledsoe on them a no trade, bro, because I'm sure they would have been happier paying $18 million instead of 27.
We got him anyway, right? But anyway, let's keep it moving. And then number 5, not including Kyle Kuzma and Anthony Davis trade. Not kidding, just kidding. But that was under Dale Demps, where they could have had Kyle Kuzma in all the pieces and the picks and everything as well. And the only thing Rob Pelinka did was just take Magic Johnson's trade and give it to the Pelicans minus Kyle Kuzma, because that's what Magic Johnson was willing to give Dale Demps for Anthony Davis. And he would have absorbed the contract of that garbage ass Solomon Hill and all that. But that's the subject of another day. Keeping Eric Bledsoe, moving the fan favorite. Drew Holiday was probably the only play, given the tenuousness of his contract and disparate timeline he and Zion share. Earning 3 first and future swaps in addition to Bledsoe and Hill isn't a bad return for a 30-year-old when he hasn't earned an all-star nod in 8 seasons. However, at the time, it was clear there was a little chance that the 2 veterans and advanced age would be content riding out the last few years of their careers in New Orleans alongside a blossoming group that had little to no chance of title contention. Pelicans did their part in sending Hill to Oklahoma before he found his way to Philadelphia at the deadline. The obvious error was in rerouting the wrong Bucks bags. Okay, failing to bench Bledsoe. We talked about this when it was several times and several dozen times during the season when Bledsoe was pathetic in his game, and they refused to pull him out of the starting lineups. We often criticized and said, "What the hell is he doing?" And even the Pelican family members talked about the ridiculousness of this asshole saying that I wasn't paying attention. That's why, I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't paying attention, and then he still wasn't benched the next game after saying that. So I mean, you won't talk about consistency and doing right and this, that, and third, and you have to set the tone. Bledsoe, we've been saying it should have been benched. His play developed, and I kept saying he does not deserve to start. His play is pathetic. It's just a lot of stuff. But anyway, Griffin's press conferences. Let me get into this.
Yeah, you got to read this.
That gets into it because that decent. We talk about Griffin's press conference. I got to
read this, brother.
All right, here we go. Griffin has a penchant for stirring controversy with his comments. When doing so is unnecessary. He has an inanimate desire to pump up players publicly, which sounds nice in a vacuum, but also burdens them with unnecessary expectation. He also at times can take an antagonistic approach. Neither technique seems to benefit. While his comments may be well-founded in nature, we would probably go better left unsaid. Now, here go one right here. The issue with Anthony was, and we had no way of knowing it at the time, the kid had no desire to overcome adversity whatsoever. As soon as it was hard, he was out. David Griffin said of Anthony Bennett in 2017, "I'm the one who got sold the bill of goods, and I bought it hook, line, and sinker. You fuck up sometimes." That's what he said. Everything we did was so inorganic and unsustainable and frankly not fun. I was miserable. Griffin said of his tenure in Cleveland with LeBron James, "Literally the moment we won a championship, I knew I was going to leave. There was no way I was going to stay for any amount of money."
Yeah, because you knew LeBron was leaving, fool.
Yeah, and this is the truth, because the reality at the end of the day is, David Griffin's hands was tied. LeBron was running that shit over there, man. LeBron was going right past him to the owner, telling him exactly what he wanted. He was phased out, just like what he did doing training in Langdon. That's what LeBron did to his ass.
So that's where he got it from, huh?
That's where he got it from. So sometimes you need to be given permission to dominate people, Griffin said of Holiday in 2019. "So are you not trying to trade Drew Holiday?" Jen Hill asked. "Clearly not," Griffin replied. "Drew was traded the following offseason." So we just go to show you that he's a liar. And then they even put the interview right here when she asked him that. Sometimes you need to be given permission to dominate people. You got to be given permission. Remember, we questioned that. All this we questioned as a selfless 27.
Oh, wait, hold up. They got him to being a dark horse MVP candidate, because we went off on that shit too.
As a selfless 27-year-old elite rim protector, what we believe is untapped offensive potential. He's just entering his prime. We believe we'd be the vital piece of our nucleus moving forward, Griffin said of Favors. Favors joined the Jazz the following off season without much fanfare. Everyone would do well to keep. I was saying how bad Favors look. He didn't look like he won. I was saying that. In the front office rally around his troops, but when some of those key players change addresses less than a year later, the comments come off a little disingenuous in regards to Zion's injury near the end of the season. While the thought was correct overall, the tone echoed an emotionally charged rant, not based entirely on fact. Saying, I'm really frustrated because this was avoidable. We told the NBA through every means available to us, through sending the film, through speaking to everybody in the office department and everybody in basketball operations, the way they were officiating Zion was going to get him injured. Griffin said of Zion after fracturing a finger resulting in a $50,000 fine. While it's absolutely true that Zion has been officiated correctly during his brief NBA. I ain't gonna say he was officiated correctly.
Hasn't been officiated correctly.
I'm sorry, but that's what I'm making sense. Thank you for that. This isn't going to earn. I was like, I had to keep going back. It's like, hold on here. There's nothing. Y'all got to forgive me, fam. I had a couple of. Well, anyway, there's nothing in the clip that suggests the Zion was specifically targeted. It appears to be a fluke injury. Come on, making a fiery speech to win the PR points with the city and locker room is an example of saying things with the right intentions, but things could backfire. Calling Drew an MVP, saying it was his team, and leaving Favors as a part of your nucleus only to then move on from them doesn't promote stability. It suggests fragility. And remember, we talked about all this. Him saying that it's Drew team when we knew it, that wasn't Drew team. We said that's Zion team, but he's trying to keep pressure off of Zion. We also spoke about Drew winning the community award, whatever it was. He won this big community award.
Best teammate
award.
Whole NBA.
And then he was traded.
And then he got traded like a month later.
The business of the
Boy,
NBA.
That should be a PR nightmare right there. That shit don't look good.
You can't trust this, man. Each incident is innocent enough alone, but when they start multiplying, it gets noticed. It could eventually damage the family's image that Griffin has spoken fine of in the past. If players don't believe Griffin will be true to his word, can they trust him? According to Reddick, at least, the answer is a definitive no. If Griffin truly wants to serve the city of New Orleans and its basketball franchise, he'd do better to steer away from certain types of comments. He'll do better to keep his ass away from the camera and let Trajan Langdon, who's actually the general manager, do it and shut the fuck up. That's what I'm sorry. I had to put it out there. But David Griffin, somebody got to tell you, you talk too much. You too much and you way too much involved in it. You're a camera whore. Keep your ass away from the camera and let the general manager do it. I'm sorry to be blunt about it, but that's what people just got to sell him to shut the F up. He talks too much. Stay away from the team. In terms of the camera, we don't need to see you. We don't want to see you. We need to see the actual general manager. If we don't have a general manager, tell us that so we don't. Well, then again, you might have one. He ain't have a press conference. You don't know what the hell going on with him. And then an unhappy Zion.
They're probably gonna leave, bro. I mean, we really can't be mad at him, bro. Like, look, they pigeonholed him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I really do. As much as we clown him, and you do the little mime thing and all that, I think Trajan Langdon is probably a good basketball mind, bro. And he would have made better decision if he had 100% hands-on with all of this, bro. I think some of these moves, especially these trades, man, I don't see Trajan Langdon pulling off Eric Bledsoe or Steven Adams trade, bro. I don't see it, bro.
I'm sorry, DC had to put my bus window up on you.
I know. I seen it, bro.
Say, what are you on a bus?
You like to go silent, you know what I'm saying, and hide behind that damn glass. But I don't think he would have made a lot of these moves, bro. Like getting rid of Christian Wood, just certain stuff you just can tell. To me, it just seems like Griffin hands is all on it. We would have still had. I'm sure we probably still would have had to trade Drew Holiday. Drew was trying to be the good guy and do the stuff in community and acting like he still wanted to be here, but he didn't want to be here. So we would have had to trade him. I'm not mad at all the picks from Milwaukee, but you mean to tell me we couldn't get DiVincenzo and a couple other players, some guys, and to add up to a Drew contract or something and lead them with Eric Bledsoe and Drew Holiday? Let them run that point guard, shooting guard right there. Like, we didn't have to get Drew Holiday. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, not Drew Holiday. We didn't have to get Eric Bledsoe. But we'll never know, Q, because I don't know, man. If Trajan Langdon's still here next year, okay, cool. But I don't think that dude's just going to sit around and let David Griffin keep doing what he's doing, bro. Why? He basically hiding this man in the basement. Or would you say they hide him in the studio? He got a mattress in the
I don't know.
studio back there somewhere.
I don't know where the
The
hell he hiding
janitor's
him.
closet. What you say? Where you say the
He
man
doing.
at?
That's what he probably doing. Part-time job is janitoring. He cleaning up the floors, put Simply Green down. He doing. He got a
Simply
spick and
Green.
span.
Goddamn, Q.
Simply Green. I know all about it, brother. He threw out the pine saw. Simply Green. He got the Simply Green is going down over there in the Pelicans building. It's all clean. He got the desk shined up, the phone shined up, everything sanitized. Is down. He ready to do the job because he damn sure ain't making no moves with this team. I know for a fact that that's not his coach. You can't tell me that SVG was Trainer Langdon's choice when we know it was Will Weaver. We know Will Weaver is his boy. Will Weaver was looking for a job and they didn't even get a chance to interview the man. Most of these picks and a lot of people, like we keep pointing out, we do this, man. We do this. When the people don't even cover the shit, like when Trainer Langdon was trying to, he was interested in getting the Sacramento job a year into the Pelicans job. You ain't see no smoke there? I mean, it ain't hard to tell. You just got to pay attention. What's up, Jonathan? Big
Well,
ups to you.
Kyle, could you pull up? Kyle had a question, bro, because I was talking about Trajan Langdon and what he would have done.
Kyle?
Yeah, put his question up so everybody can see it. And I'm not saying I know Kyle what Trajan Langdon would have done, but I mean we watched the Cavaliers. You know, we've all watched what David Griffin was at, and they're very trade heavy, always signing people, trading people, just a lot of moving and shaking. You know what I'm saying? And some of these moves, you could look at them and clearly see connections to David Griffin and his thought processes based on where he been at. I mean, come on, man. Eric Bledsoe played for the Phoenix Suns when David Griffin was over there. It's obvious that was a guy he wanted. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying somebody else could have done something different, obviously. And based on the track record of what we seen with the Nets over there, which Trajan Langdon had a big hand in, which is how he got this whole general manager job. He was doing a lot of stuff with the Nets. You see what the Nets look like right now. I mean, I know Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant went over there, but think about when they had what's that little guy Russell from the Lakers. They put together a squad of guys that were very scrappy and they played good ball, man. They didn't have top tier talent, but they wasn't spending crazy money, and they got a bunch of good players. Had a full bench and everything, man. A lot of good players over there, even before they got KD and Kyrie. So I'm gauging it based off of what I seen the Nets do, and then looking at the type of moves I saw the Cleveland Cavaliers pulling off with David Griffin over there. Obviously, LeBron was making some of those moves happen, but David Griffin was the GM, so I'm sure a lot of those moves was him too.
Yeah, Carl says, what he says, he had another one here. He says, we missed the playoffs due to poor defense. I agree about that. And complete lack of true shot makers. I mean, shot makers, you know, that's a point too. I would also encourage, if you watch a lot of games, we're fundamentally flawed, man. I mean, you had 14 games where you were up by double digits and you just completely just collapsed. You disintegrated. And like I said, a lot of these games were lost because you couldn't hit no free throws. So don't forget the throw. You can't hit free throws. Don't forget the throw that you was irresponsible with the ball with multiple turnovers. And it was a series of comedy of errors. And a lot of times injuries had nothing to do with it. The Pelicans had a full staff with the stars out there running. And we had JJ Redick and all of them there at the time. And they still falling through the floor. So like I said, a communication issue, bad defense, and it's like, okay, communication. The coach is a defensive-minded coach. They don't know how to play defense, or he doesn't know how to teach them defense. Either way, it's a communication issue involved that has to be corrected during the offseason into the upcoming season. So I do agree with you with some of these points right here. You're not, in my opinion, totally off the wall there in terms of this. But like I said, it's a dysfunctional situation, and a lot of people don't really bring that to light. I'm often finding a handful of people, and we one of them, that's bringing light to the fact about how dysfunctional the general manager situation is in the city of New Orleans. Most
people don't understand that David Griffin is the vice president of basketball operations. He's not supposed to be the general manager. Most people don't know that, Q. Most people really think David Griffin is the general manager.
They ain't wrong. He is the general manager. He is. I mean, he does everything, and the other guy don't even have a press conference, man. Come on, man. Man don't even have a goddamn press conference, man. Cut this shit out. Iceman says, not excuses, Q. It's hard to win in the West Conference.
And then I don't
Listen,
want
bro.
to hear that. Look
Bro,
at Phoenix.
listen.
Phoenix is
Right,
all
bro.
I'm gonna
Come
say
on,
to you.
bro.
Look at Phoenix, bro.
Iceman, I don't agree with you on that one, my brother. You
Phoenix
know what I mean?
3 years ago, Phoenix was probably one of the worst teams in the NBA, bro. And they jump up, make the right moves, keep the right coach, stick with it, let their young guys build, draft correctly. And what there was a number 3 seed this year?
Yeah, they was up there. And Monty Williams came in there. What was his first, second year at the helm? Was it Monty's first or second year at Phoenix? His first year over there, isn't it?
I believe this is his second year.
His second year. Okay, so you get there, and what I'm saying is, you know, we have winners on this squad. I mean, these players are talented, man. You know, and when you see, like Damian brings up, Nate McMillan got them Hawks looking like they're the truth because Nate McMillan now knows how to communicate what he wants to do to his players, and that's why they had success. Look what Thibodeau was able to do with the Knicks, and the Knicks haven't won in years. I mean, they have been out of the playoffs for years, and he was able to take them. What we're saying is coaching. When the coach can communicate what he needs to do to his players, you know, it's all good.
And,
you know what I'm
and
saying? It makes it work.
look, Thibodeau was the coach with Minnesota, and all that fell apart. And people blame Thibodeau as if he wasn't, a good coach. But it just goes to show you, which I don't think Van Gundy is a horrible coach. I just don't think he's the right coach probably for this team due to youth. But Thibodeau went to New York, and now everybody's singing his praises again. But everything fell apart in Minnesota. He was a horrible coach. The coach lost the team. Them guys wasn't buying in, and it was trash. But they did at least get to the playoffs and was winning some games before it all fell apart.
That's a good example. What you saying, DC, about Tibbs. But one of the most clear and best examples that I came across recent was the Nate McMillan one. I mean, all they did, DC, was change coaches. That's all they did was change the coaches.
They got a lot of talent, though, Q.
I know you about to start talking, singing Cam. I know you're gonna start singing Cam Reddish's praises, and before you get there, I've got to stop you.
I said they spent a bunch of money. I ain't even talking about Cam, bro.
Oh, I'll give you some time, DC. You'll get right to it. So we
I'll talk about Lou Williams and Brock Donovich and
Cam Reddish,
Gallinari and all them guys, man.
And sooner or later, you start talking about Cam. I already know.
Man, nothing to say about Cam, bro. Cam hurt.
Okay,
he hurt.
DC. I got you. All right.
Wait, what about this? What about Hunter, a guy that we should have drafted, who looks like he's gonna be pretty damn good? You know, he had some 30-point games and was really, really doing his thing. Play hell of a defense. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy. That's that number 4 pick that we gave up for Jackson Hayes in NAW.
Cam Reddish in the playoffs, though.
Man, I say Hunter, man. I say Hunter, y'all hunting for radishes. I'm talking about DeAndre Hunter, the dude who was drafted number 4.
Well, you gave him that Cam Reddish mindset. It's all on you, brother.
I ate already. I ain't hungry. I don't want no radish.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. All right, and then of course, DC, the final point to go over is an unhappy Zion Williamson. How he ended that, and of course, we played that. And of course, that's why he says sets up for a make it or break it 2021-2022 season, which decision has to be made on what happens with Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, of course, the Eric Bledsoe situation, and of course, you'll have the issue with Steven Adams being brought up as well. All that to be thrown in the foot, and of course, the draft and who the Pelicans take in the draft will also be a plus. To think about. So a lot of questions to turn around and look at in this upcoming off season for the Pelicans. A lot of questions indeed. But hopefully, the biggest one is, in my opinion, we have to get the communication issues out the way because that's really hurting us. Zane said Pelicans sorry ass trash organization.
That can also be helped with players, like getting another veteran or two that's real vocal. I think could help with the communication issues. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why the hell Van Gundy's guy is Eric Bledsoe. So I'm guessing Eric Bledsoe was supposed to be more vocal, kind of conveyed a message to the team. Mm-hmm. But when you got the dude that's supposed to be trying to convey the message talking about he wasn't paying attention, that tell you everything you need to know right now.
Well, I mean, you were saying that about the veterans, and that's why I was saying Okay, you have the veteran. You had Bledsoe, but of course Bledsoe was really not.
Wasn't a
He
good
wasn't
vet for us
he
on the court play. I don't know
yeah
how he was off the
he
court
wasn't.
and in practice and all that.
Right. I don't know about that. To me, but in terms of what he exhibited on the court, he was not consistent and really wasn't a big help for the Pelicans in the long run. I mean, he was not good, especially when he was the only veteran on the floor after the injury set in, and they were counting on him trying to run the offense through him, and it wasn't working. It was not a good season for Eric Bledsoe, and it's clear to me that they need to get him up out of here as soon as possible. But what's the direction overall of the Pelicans is something that we all are contemplating moving forward into offseason. We're just going to keep our eyes to the grindstone. So with that being said, I'm going to put a link in the chat for the family members to flock in and get your flocking point out to the rest of the family members about what the hell you think what should be done with the Pelicans. So we're going to drop a link. We'll take a few callers in here. If you want to pop in, the link is in the chat. Feel free to hit that link. We'll bring you on the show. Questions, concerns, comments you guys have. Please feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll try to answer them to our best of our ability. Damon says, hey, Q, DC, to me, that kid, R.J. Barrett, is overrated to me. What you think? And Kenneth says, yeah, he overrated.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't consider him overrated. I don't feel like he get a lot of burn like what people be trying to hype him up to me. I think he's a good player. You know what I'm saying? He's still a guy that's growing and learning. I don't see the T-Mac comparisons that people was trying to sell me on when he was drafted.
You heard T-Mac performances? I mean,
man, no, that's what people was comparing. They're talking about
he's
no. The next T-Mac. I don't see that.
Hell no. No, I don't see that.
He's a solid
Not
player.
right now, anyway.
If we had R.J. Barrett on our team, you know what I'm saying, with minus Eric Bledsoe, and we kept Lonzo Ball or something like that, it definitely would make you a better team. I don't think he's a bad player, man. He's just not. I don't see him as like some fringe all-star or something, if that's what people saying.
Yeah, I have to. I don't think that much of R.J. Barrett. I think he's a good young player. I don't see him as a superstar or anything like that. I mean, when he was in college, he had some good ability, but I don't see him.
Ball dominant to me in college. He's a little too ball dominant.
He has talent, and I think Coach Tibbs is getting it out of him. But you can see Coach Tibbs is riding with Julius Randle. It's Randle's. It's all
don't
on the back of Randle,
Rose,
and
man.
I will give it to you. D Rose kind of solidified things as well. But Julius Randle is carrying a lot of the team on his back, and he knows Rose. Rose goes everywhere Tibbs goes, and he was able to get Randle and Rose, and of course the role guys to work together. And I think Barrett comes along, but I don't really see him as a superstar caliber player as of yet, or see him as bit as overranked. I mean, I just don't. I think he's a good young player, but I don't think he's all that, to be honest with you. I'm just keeping it real. All right. What's up, T Sam I am? He says, what's your take on Point Zion? Well, I do like the Point Zion, ain't gonna lie. A massive human being like Zion controlling the ball, showing his skills. That's cool, but I think that the game at certain points have that that you can use that with. But I really want a real point guard to operate. And sometimes, we can go to that where we can give Zion his burn. But I would like the offense to be focally used to a traditional point guard who distributes the ball to players and keeps everything in front of them. That's my mentality. But the Zion point is pretty fun to watch, but not all the damn time trying to force feed that. You know what I'm saying? Certain areas of the game at certain times. Go ahead, DC.
I think Point Zion is an excellent idea, but obviously I think Zion needs to expand his game and improve more perimeter-wise to make it be even more effective.
He was hitting them threes in that first year, wasn't he? Remember that when he was hurt?
Huh?
Remember he was working on them three-pointers when he was hurt that first year? He was knocking them three-pointers down? Kind of went away from that in the second year. Go ahead, DC.
Yeah, so once he becomes more effective on the perimeter, and we also our shooting, 3-point shooting and just shooting period, man, wasn't always up to par. So I think that'd even make it look more impressive. But I don't want to see Zion be no damn point guard for 48 minutes. You know what I'm saying? He could do
certain times in the game, yeah.
He can do way too much. He has a lot of versatility to him, as people are learning. And I think it's an excellent idea to run like Point Zion, similar to like what the Warriors would do with their debt lineup. You know what I'm saying? Where you have like this lineup with Zion and you put some other guys out there that just creates an extreme mismatch. And you kind of put your foot on their necks with that lineup. But you need to have a traditional starting lineup and actually have a point guard where you're not running that all the time. Because now on top of that, you also don't want to burn Zion out. Like, I don't want to run him into the ground trying to have him do that all the time, especially with the size he is, knowing what his conditioning is, which was extremely better than it was his first year. But I don't see him as a full point guard. I just see it as kind of like the way they do similar stuff like Giannis. Like, Giannis on the fast break will go to almost like a transitional point guard type role a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's a thing that you should do and implement as a tactic, but I don't want to see it be like a complete offense. If it is, I would like to see it be like the last 5-6 minutes of the game or something you go to that they can't stop, and this my bread and butter, and we about to beat you over the head with it, deal with it. But all game, I think it's too risky for as team dynamic, because it's going to limit other players, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's the point. In certain areas of the game, perhaps when the game gets stagnant, you can go that point Zion. And but like I said, is that just a part of covering up for like some of the family members mentioned in the comment section about a lack of point guard play? I mean, you feel confident?
I don't think it was that, because you got Lonzo Ball.
But still in all though, DC. We've seen Bi handle the ball, we've seen Zion handle the ball. But the majority of the time, who handled the ball?
The majority of the time, it was either Bi or Zion.
Who handled the ball the majority of the time in the offense, DC?
Bi had a heavy usage too, so I can't.
I'm trying to get you to point out your point guard. Trying to get you to point out your point guard.
Oh, our point guard was Bi and Zion, basically, because that's who was handling the ball the majority of the time.
Okay.
And they Eric Bledsoe, they kind of was letting him set up stuff, which I wasn't crazy about. I always consider Eric Bledsoe more of like a scoring point guard. But as far as not shooting, but just like driving and attacking the basket. But he couldn't really do that like how he wanted to.
All right. Hold on now. I see you, DJ. We're going to bring you in a second. Debo says, what holes do you think the Pelicans have, since we pretty much have drafted every position and had vets like Adams, Bledsoe, JJ, Nelly on the team? What do we have to do different since Stan is back? That's a great point. Like people would remember at the start of the season, people kept saying, in the media apparatus was saying that, and they were right, Pelicans needed more shooters. We were saying here at the Pelican postgame report that the Pelicans should be all right with what they got as long as they play fundamental, which means play defense, hit their goddamn free throw shots, and also respect the ball, meaning not turn the ball over. The Pelicans would be fine.
I feel like we need two more players though.
Hold on, don't over. A lot of people. I ain't gonna even say that, but anyway, the reality is DC. That's the simple three though that we were talking about. Now, I was saying like every team could use some extra 3-point shooters. But the reality is, how are we? We had 14 games, DC. We were about double digits, and it just slipped away. And then, of course, when I was telling you about I was trying to prove a point about the point guard position. Who's your point guard? I was trying to get you to say Eric Bledsoe, in which you smartly went away from that, wouldn't even admit to that. But that's why you're using Zion and Bi at those positions, because you don't have that guy. So that's the question.
We also didn't have another guy, which kind of led to them doing all of that too, which I'm gonna get at. We was missing a real solid 3-and-D guy, and that's basically what they tried to turn Lonzo Ball into. So they needed that, you know what I'm saying? And you also need another small forward, power forward / center guy. You need like a versatile guy.
Give me a
that
name.
Could be like a stretch big.
Who
that
you
could,
like?
That could, huh?
Give me a name along with that. I know you naming the position. Give me somebody that fits with what you're saying.
But the famous name you always use, man.
Precious
like
Achiuwa?
One of the Morris twins. Like we need a guy like that. We got James Johnson. He did good for like 2 games, and his 3-point shooting went through the floor, but he still was impacting the game other ways. But you need an efficient two efficient 3-and-D guys, man. Just some more guys with versatility, man. We need to have the ability to be able to match up with teams when I noticed sometimes when guys got big on us, it'd be a problem when they got big on us. That and also when guys had like a lot of firepower from the perimeter. That was our two biggest issues. You can get real big on us, or you could shoot us out the gym from the perimeter because we was lacking like an extra 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, that perimeter
Some people would
defense
say,
is
well,
bad.
we was missing Josh Hart, and that could be the case. But even with Josh Hart, I think you still need like another stretch 4, stretch 5 guy could go in between 3, 4, and 5, hit some perimeter shots, kind of stretch it out and play good defense. I mean, that's not easy to get all the time. You probably gonna have to find them in the draft because guys like that in the league,
You got to pay
free
for them.
agency or on the team, you got to pay for that.
Yeah.
That's a premium position. But a lot of championship teams, man, they always have that.
Kenneth says y'all think BI coming back better than Tatum. That's a tall order, DC.
I would love to say that, and I've actually put my foot in my mouth earlier. I got on here. I was like, "Q, BI is better than Tatum." Man, you crazy. He better. I was talking my trash. Man, I got to eat them words right now, bro. I got to humble myself. And he not better than Tatum.
Tatum.
But BI can't be. I mean, and then you got to understand those two guys come from the exact same template. You know what I'm saying? They're both Duke guys who had an affinity for Kobe Bryant and actually trained with him. So if anybody could get up to Tatum's level, in my opinion, and he kind of has the same measurements. They close in size and all of that. Maybe not width, but height wise for his size. I think he can get to that level, man. But it's gonna take him, in my opinion, really locking in and understanding scenarios and situational basketball, when to run his ISO game, when to kind of go with the floor things, and BI's defense, because I know a lot of people, a lot of times we seen him jack up shots and we give him a hard time about that. I really saw BI learning, man, and trying to figure out that balance in between when to shoot and when not to shoot. Because he wouldn't shoot, and then people get on him talking about he disappeared. Why BI ain't being aggressive? Well, aggression was never his problem. Like he'll go out there and jack him up. He was trying to figure out that balance and when he's supposed to do it and when he not. So, man, if he does figure that out and also add some defense to it, then, yeah, I think BI can surpass Tatum. But I'm a little biased because I was saying he was better than Tatum before the season started.
I'll say, you know what, DC, I got to agree with you on some stuff. But, bro, I knew what Tatum's game was, and you could see it like this year, how Tatum stepped up to do what he's been doing, man, and he's been phenomenal. Not saying that BI isn't far from doing that because, we got a better coach. They got a better coaching situation up there. The team, it's just a lot that we have to improve upon. And in many cases, I think to a degree, the schematics of what Van Gundy's doing is kind of holding BI back to a degree. You know what I'm saying? And it's just he needs to relax and let it flow a little bit more and let him have a little bit more fun. And communication is a big problem, in my opinion, with Stan Van Gundy, man. Really, it is. And I just don't know how you fix that. He got to be able to. He's an old coach, and those old guys, it's hard to teach them new shit. I mean, most of them ain't the most flexible people in the world in terms of mentality. A lot of them been winning with what they've been having for years, and they don't like to relinquish it so easily. All right, best athlete on the team, in your opinion, DC and Big Q, the best athlete on the team, I have to say is Zion, man. You know what he can do, 6'7", 70 plus, jumping all over around, cramming it on your head. I mean, to me, I have to go with Zion Williamson's probably the best athlete on the team. And then, of course, I like KLJ because he's super fast. If we could just let him go basket to basket, from East Coast to West Coast, as they say, just running and getting to the hoop. And then if you foul him, he can knock the free throws down. I would love to see that from KLJ as well. All right. So with that being said, we're going to bring in some of the family members. DC, you all right? Your phone went to picture. Are you still there? DC? All right. We're going to have to bring him back in a second. Hold on, fam. Let me see if I can bring him here. I think he had issue. DC, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. I had to step away for a second. I got something I got to take care of right quick.
Oh, DC had to go use the bathroom. So anyway, listen, man, we welcome y'all back here, man. So with that being said, we're going to bring in State of the Pelicans, Kenneth Barnes, and the Iceman. We'll bring you one at a time. DJ, welcome to the show, bro.
Yo, what's going on, people? How y'all doing?
What's doing good, my brother? How you doing?
I miss y'all, bro. What's going on, Flock family?
Same to you, my brother. But like I said, man, when the last show is in there, we're gonna still be doing at least one show a week, more than likely on Saturday, just to catch up with the latest Pelican news. So we won't be going too far from the family members. We're gonna try to stay in touch.
You got that. Y'all probably read my comment before y'all put me on, but shout out to DC, bro, because I was playing 2K and
Oh,
and I finally made an appearance to the championship and won.
hold on, say that again, DJ. You froze up on me, bro. Say that one more time.
I said I finally got Cam Reddish on the team on NBA 2K and actually won the championship.
What
We
and
won.
won it?
We won a
So
championship with Cam Reddish, huh?
so crazy.
Yeah.
DC's crazy, ridiculous. Cam
What can
Reddish
you say, bro?
ridiculousness work.
What can you say, bro? He
But the
could be
only
a
thing is,
3 and D guy, Q.
I had him coming off the bench though.
He could be
I
that
had
3 and D guy I'm talking about, bro.
Did you trade him BI for Cam Reddish like DC requested?
Bro,
nah.
I ain't never. Nah, hold up. I'm gonna have to stop you right there. I did
Wait,
talk
wait,
about
wait,
Cam
wait,
Reddish coming to the team.
wait.
I ain't never in my goddamn life said I'm trading BI for Cam Reddish, bro. You gonna stop running that garbage to the people, bro?
You
It
know
ain't
what
right.
though? Hey, to be honest with you, I traded Josh Hart and James Johnson and got back Cam Reddish and Tony Snell.
That's not a bad trade.
Yeah,
Nah.
Tony Snell, but he a good shooter. Like, don't get
He
me wrong,
shot, I think, 50% from 3-point line or something crazy like that, huh?
this 2K shot me the ball, but when I put Tony Snell in the game, I was lit. It was over. But my thing is, with the roster spots, we already know we keeping Didi Rosado. Who else we keeping? Najee Marshall. You know, all our players. My thing is this: with what I want to do, James Johnson, maybe Josh Hart, maybe uh, and the Sinners. My question is, what in the draft do we need? Let's just say we traded Eric Bledsoe for what? Don't know. What do, like, as far as guards wise? You got Alonzo. Hopefully he resigns because the team want him back. You got Kyra and you got NAW. Everybody down there 6'6" and above. We gonna need that 6'4", 6'5" guard if that makes any sense. So who in the draft or who do you look for in that position wise? Because you can't go. Let's see. If you go, if the opponent goes small, we can't run. Well, we can, but everybody them that 6'6" and up. I mean, at least Drew Holiday, he was what 6'4" or 6'3" and 6'4". Josh Hart, he's 6'5". Kyra, he's 6 foot or 6'1". So we need height comparisons.
So you feel like you saying we need a 6'3" or 6'4" guy? That's what you're saying?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, okay, so here's my starting lineup. Well, the championship run I had, it was Lonzo Ball, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, B.I., Zion, and Jackson Hayes. That was my 5. My bench was Tony Snell. I had Rodney Hood as well. Steven Adams and our plug and play. But I mean, height issues. Like we need size. Like Drew Holiday, he was not. No offense to Drew Holiday, he ain't the best, but that's the best we had. I mean, at least Drew Holiday, he was 6'4". Drew. So I mean, other than Kyra and Eric Bledsoe, we don't have no smaller guard. And no point intended to Isaiah Thomas,
I don't
but
feel like you necessarily need smaller guards. Like, I mean, most people go the opposite direction and want to keep getting bigger. If you got guys, they 6'6" and all that, and they still fast. Like, I don't really feel like it matters. But as far as the draft, I would get I'm going 3-and-D, the best 3-and-D guy available, a stretch 4, stretch 5 type guy available, unless I run across one of those 2-3 guys that's just, they fall or something you just can't pass up, Jalen Green or something, Chad Tatum, Evan Mobley or something like that. I'm going with the best 3-and-D guy I could get, or stretch 4 or 5 guy that play D.
DC, that's a good one. I just think that, at some point, all of these million draft picks the Pelicans acquired, at some form of fashion, they're going to reach out with some of these picks and try to get an established veteran of some sort. We heard Griffin tipping toward that last year, some of this year. That you, of course, drafting of players in the upcoming draft, which is loaded with great talent, or just simply kind of packaging some of these picks and making a swing at an established veteran. So, I mean, that is something that's also in their treasure trove of thought ideas that how they need to improve upon the team. Man, might also play into why the fact that we keep hearing the rigmarole about Lonzo Ball not coming back, and of course, some of the family members in the flock, and they right to say so. A lot of people don't believe Lonzo should get $18 million or $20 million. But I would also remind them that you playing Eric Bledsoe $16 to $17 million this year, so he ain't worth a mill.
Why people feel like that, man? Why people think $18 or $20 million is
too
like
much
what it
for
was 10
Lonzo.
years ago or something?
Well, listen, only thing I'm saying is people can feel however they want to feel.
Like $27 million.
I know, but that's the point. What I'm saying, like, if we take some of the more ridiculous contracts that's out there, and then the people say, well, Q, that's a bad contract. We paying Eric Bledsoe $16-17 million this year.
No, it's 18 now, 19.
DC,
It's going up.
I don't need much more think about that. I'm just saying this year, so don't depress me. I'm just saying in terms of this year, but that's what we're paying this man right now. We're paying him that much money. So you mean to tell me you won't tack a mill on there for Lonzo, and you know what he can do? He balled out at the 2. That's not even his position. He balled out at the 2. We know he could play the 1, but are the Pelicans convinced of that? So I mean, there's question. But go ahead, DJ. I ain't want to get in your way, my brand. Go ahead and finish your thought on that.
Okay, so would you use the well, technically we do have the 9th or 10th pick in the draft. Do you use that pick and actually draft him, or would you trade that pick and either try to get somebody like a veteran, or would you trade that pick to get Eric Bledsoe gone and use whatever you have left?
You got a lot of picks. In some form or fashion, we're going to have to tamp a pick with Bledsoe to move him.
You get no 10 pick up to get rid of Bledsoe. That's too much.
I don't think you give that
13 pick. That's too much.
I don't think you give up, a top 10 pick to move him out of here. But it's going to have to be a first rounder, maybe a later first round pick attached to Bledsoe to get him out of here, because he didn't play well enough to make himself attractive to other teams. And then, of course, I mean, that's the disservice that first of all, you got a big, fat, dumbass contract. Then you come in here and you ass out on all your play and your numbers and your statistics, which make it even harder for us to get them out of it. And then you sitting up here with even more money coming up here next year. Now to get you on up out of here, I got to attach a future asset with you just to get you the hell up out of here. So I mean, it's just what we have to do. We cannot go into next year with Eric Bledsoe on this team. He stinks. He's terribly too inconsistent. And you can tell by the play when somebody don't want to be here. That man don't want to be here. And quite frankly, I don't want him here, to be honest with you. He doesn't. I mean, I can go on a whole spiel about that. But yes, you're going to have to attach assets to move his ass up out of here, unfortunately.
I wouldn't want nobody here who don't want to be here, man. Like,
right. Especially somebody that stinks like that.
They're just going to mess everything up. You know what I'm saying? So
I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry, I wouldn't pay. Told the media that you couldn't save that for like behind the scenes. And then the cold part about it, you could do that to Van Gundy and then play the next game. He out there starting the next game. I know you said that you wasn't paying attention, but make sure this game you
But
paying. Nah, sit your
just
ass
imagine
down, bro.
Greg Popovich. You say something like that to Greg
Oh, you
Popovich. Ain't
sitting.
no way in hell you playing the
Right,
next
right.
game, man.
Where's the consequences, man? That's
Well,
what
you
see.
wasn't paying attention. Well, I ain't about to pay attention to your ass on this roster
But
before I
DC,
started this game.
that's another thing. Is he a pushover? Because obviously, like them guys sitting up there looking down in the game, he asks him, "Are you guys tired? Did you need minutes? Or do you?" I mean, dude, do you not? I mean, the coach has to command the respect of the team. Even if you don't like the coach, you must respect them. Even if you own this team, since you've been in the NBA, and most of these guys he was talking to were top 10 picks, that you come from winning programs ran by winning coaches, and that is unacceptable for you to behave like that in any manner, especially when you get in the money. There is no way you're supposed to be doing that. Even if you don't like the coach, you're supposed to step up and play for him. There was in these games where you see these guys laying down out there. These guys didn't have like one of the family members said, where the dog at in them. None of them had the dog. When they lose, they head down, they smiling and smirking. It was just really pitiful, in my opinion, to watch that kind of display of basketball. And many of these games, the Pelicans had 14 of them. You were up by double digits and collapsed every last one of these games. Van Gundy's a major part of that, but also the players are as well. Which why I said going into the future is how do you correct something like that? That is not easily correctable when you know that they weren't. And the reporters like Sam Amick of the National of the Athletic comes out and say they wasn't listening to Van Gundy. The communication was the issue. Communication issue mean they wasn't listening to him. And we've been saying it here, and it ain't hard to see it. If you watching basketball, you can see the man yelling his fucking head off, and they sitting there with their head down, looking like he's speaking Chinese and Mandarin to him. Like they ain't know what he was saying. And I'm saying, listen, man, I played organized sports before. And the coach is yelling, the man yelling, he yelling. And you still, whether you don't like him or not, you're supposed to respect what he's saying and do it to the best of your ability. You mean to tell me these guys don't know how to play defense? Defensive principles consistently? Oh, man, come on with that bullshit, man. These people out here, these guys on here, top 20 players, most of them, and excelling offensively in there, but you can't play defense? You don't know. Well, Elvin Gentry ain't teach us how to play defense, so we don't know. That's bullshit. So you mean to tell me when you was running with Coach K over there at Duke, you ain't know how to play defense? Get the hell out of here with that, man. Get the hell out of there. It's a mindset. It's a mindset that you've got to have, DC, is what I'm talking about. And they simply did not have the mindset. You got to have the mindset. I don't think
they buy into his defensive philosophy or the way he wanted to play defense.
Regardless of not,
the fact that they didn't.
DC, regardless of that, what's a professional, my brother? Professional is he got to go out there and handle the business. You got to make it happen.
I think our guys, conditioning wise, could have been better. I think for the amount of minutes they played and the type of energy that they had to expend to play the type of defense Van Gundy wanted them to play, I don't think they had it in the tank, or they would try to take plays off to save energy. I mean, you see Brandon Ingram, a guy taking a shot, and he like 4 feet away from him, man. I mean, that only happens if the man is obviously tired. Like, you're not that bad of a defender where a dude gonna burn you by 4 feet. You know what I'm saying? He tired. But he not gonna say he tired. Coach, take me out.
But listen, I'm Coach Van Gundy. I know the rotations. I know that I have to be able to build. Well, maybe I don't know. But I was saying most people know that you have a starting five, and then if you got a balanced team, which the Pelicans had a balanced team, they had plenty of potential and players. You have a reserve five for the 5 starters. That's balance. When you stagger 3 against 5, somebody getting extra minutes. They're gonna be overburdened and they're gonna get tired. Remember, a lot of the games were back to back. As a result, if you had more of a balanced team, guys can get their proper rest and be more effective. Is all I'm saying. That's common basketball fundamental. And we was preaching that balance. You need a consistent 5 off the bench that plays together, just like your starting 5. It's the same thing. Those 5 guys consistently off the bench, whoever they may be, come in, they play together as a unit. The maintain leads, or even if they need to catch up to help the starters, they will play as well. Our bench scoring was not as good as it was supposed to be, and many times our asses were kicked by the opposing team's benches. Go look up the statistics. We covered all of here on the Pelican post-game report. So when I get animated and upset, y'all gotta excuse me because I'm really passionate. This is my club, and I've watched all of these games, and I sit up here and watched all this and be up here shaking my head and upset, and I see what I see. I played organized sports. I know when people not listening to the coach, man, it's not hard to tell. It's not.
Right.
Maybe some of these reporters don't. They just talk about it. But when you play organized sports, you can see when somebody not listening to the coach. And when and I ain't gonna say they laying it down, but if you don't like the man and you getting paid $158, you supposed to step your ass up.
It's all in their body language, bro. You know, your
Right.
hunched shoulders, your head down, you're not looking them in the eye. You just you zoned out. You know what I'm saying? You think about what you gonna do after the game, probably.
Right.
Somewhere else.
Right, DC. We got Brother Kenneth. We got 504 Boss Man. We got Brother James Smith on the line here. We're going to bring the brothers in here. What our time frame is. We got a few minutes here. We're going to bring everybody in as a massive panel. Okay, y'all family ready. So we're going to bring everybody in, and we're going to bring them all in here up in this thing. All right, family. We got the whole panel in this joint. All right, we've got Brother Kenneth in here. Welcome, Brother Kenneth.
What's
Welcome,
up?
504 Boss Man. Stan gotta go. You got that in the tag. And what's up, James? How you doing, bro?
Stan gotta go.
You got Stan back. You gotta go.
Stan gotta go. Hey, Stan gotta go.
Yo, I got a quick
we know
question.
where you stand. Go ahead, Kenneth. We're gonna start with you, then we'll go to Boss Man, then we go to James. Go ahead, Kenneth.
Yeah, I'm gonna say my question, then I'm gonna dip out and just listen to it because I gotta go pick up somebody from the airport. But I was wondering, I saw a few articles, and I saw one that said that the Cavaliers trying to get rid of Colin Sexton, and they trying to build around Darius Garland. So I was thinking one of those could be like we could trade Eric Bledsoe. I would say trade the top 10 pick too, because they probably looking to like build around him. Because I would take Colin Sexton over Lonzo Ball at point guard. Also, I saw something that said that if the dude for the Bucks doesn't achieve the goals that they set for him this year, the coach, they gotta get rid of him. So I mean, I would take him over Stan Van Gundy.
Also, about Budenheimer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I would say I don't think Brad Stevenson is going to be there for another year. I don't think they can handle it. So I think he could be another potential coach we could look at. So what's y'all thought on that?
That's all interesting points, man.
Yeah, that is. I didn't know that.
I like the two coaching points. I'm just I don't know how the money works and all that. The Pelicans be willing to eat some of Van Gundy contract, and then you got to pay them guys money, to come over here, Brad Stevenson and Budenholzer. But that would be interesting. But the Colin Sexton thing, I don't know how I feel about that because to me, Colin Sexton and NAW are like very similar in play style. So it's like you want to get rid of Lonzo Ball for Colin Sexton, but that's gonna put NAW as shooting guard unless we draft somebody with Colin Sexton, and I don't know how that will work. They're both like kind of combo guards that primary scorers, not really facilitators. I guess it could kind of work if we going full point Zion all the time, but it's still just like it's so much scoring that you're looking at, but not really guys that's like super versatile to facilitate. I think if they had like not to beat James Harden, but if you could score on that level and then facilitate equal to your scoring, then it will work. But Colin Sexton he a guy that get buckets, man, and I don't really see him being able to run the offense. I like him as a player, but I feel like with our team, if we're gonna get him, we gotta switch some stuff around other than just Lonzo Ball.
All right, thank you, Ken. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for that. I wasn't even aware about with the Celtics coach having issues, or Coach Bud for that matter. I think Coach Bud done phenomenal for Milwaukee up there. Everywhere he goes, he's won.
The Celtics about to get bounced. But it's the Nets.
Right.
I don't think they're gonna find Brad Stevenson.
I think Stevens, man. Danny Ainge went and found Stevens. He was at Gonzaga somewhere. Went and got him and brought him up there. Knew he was a prodigy. I don't think he gets rid of him. But who knows? It's a crazy world we live in the NBA. 504 Boss Man, what's up, fam? Coming to you next, then, Brother James.
Man, what's going on? Yeah, Stan gotta go, bro. Stan gotta go. Yeah, no, what I was gonna say is, these draft picks and I think us having more rookie and prospects, you can go check. More rookies and prospects are not gonna get us in the playoffs. I feel like being mediocre in the middle of the pack is worse than being top 5 lottery. So, what do y'all feel like? I mean, do you think Stan is going to make this team any better next year with the roster we have? Because if we re-sign Lonzo, I'm going to say Lonzo is more integral than Hart. Hart is going to demand too much money for what he's giving us. He's going to be a good rebounder and a good 3-and-D off the bench, but 10 mil for that, I don't really see that. We could get a shooter or something for that. You know what I'm saying? And Hart's a streaky shooter. So do y'all feel like how much can we improve next season? I mean, I don't see this roster really doing that. We got to really switch some stuff up. And Stan too.
I see that. Well, I mean, that's why I say I feel like we need versatile guys, like far as a guy who can shoot and play defense. You know what I'm saying? That's really what we missing is like that shooting from 3-point line, and we missing versatility sometimes defensively, far as our lineups and who we playing, and basically when they go too small or too big, guys can kind of exploit our defense and what we want to do. But I honestly believe that next year they will be better under Stan Van Gundy. Can't give them an out or excuse based on this year, but I think we're really underestimating a coach being able to run a full training camp and actually implement his system within a normal NBA regular time frame period of probably, months instead of weeks. So right. They definitely not gonna get worse. Regardless, even if we don't get the players I think they should get, they're not gonna get worse.
I believe we worse than last year.
Huh?
I believe we worse than last year.
Nah, it was more disappointing because we had high expectations. We were a better team this year than we were last year, bro. The offense, I guess, if you want to say that, was worse.
So
defensively, we was like last in the league last year.
I mean, but are we any
better? At
least
we like, went to 23.
But I mean, are we that much better? So, like, Big Q, do you think like 3 years of Zion? I'm talking about people would have traded their mama for Zion, and we just not doing nothing with him. He wasted his career. But I mean, we didn't lost Chris Paul. We didn't lost Anthony Davis. We didn't seen this happen. 2 sagas, 2 eras. You know what I'm saying? And it's like Zion is top of the crop. This is a generational player, and we wasting him right now. We're not utilizing the players that we have. Don't mesh well with him at all. Besides Lonzo giving them a lob, and that's nothing special to talk about. People in the playoffs gonna lock that up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, Big Q, dog, talk to me, bro, because you feeling that heat I got in me. And I was one of them dudes that did not like the Stan Van Gundy signing at all. If you hear every player that didn't play for him, you're going to hear about 400 say they can't stand him, and about 3 of them say he was a good coach. You got Shaq talking bad about him. Shaq talk bad about nobody. Shaq talk good about everybody.
He said good and bad things about it, brother. He said good stuff, too.
But go ahead, Big Q. I want to hear you go in, big dog. Come on, bro.
Well, I mean, boss man, bro, let me tell you something, bro. Stan, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Stan wasn't the guy that we wanted. You can go back and listen to the shows when we were looking at the guys we were referencing who we wanted. But when we got Stan Van Gundy, I was like, okay, he got good basketball intellect. But he's been sitting down for a long time. Can he communicate that to the game? When we left Gentry, a part of it was he was a little too old for the team that they were trying to bring in. We knew that Drew Holiday was on his way out, because remember when they traded Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday wanted to be traded then. So that trade talk wasn't nothing new. So we knew that when he was saying that this is Lonzo, when this was Drew Holiday team, I was calling that out there. I said, no, it's not. This is Zion's team. You're trying to keep the pressure off of Zion by playing to Holiday. But in the end, man, what it bring down to, he had a fantastic basketball mind, Stan Van Gundy, bro. Issue is he can't communicate the game to these younger players. That's the problem. And when we talk about all the stuff and all the flock is they right, man. When they talk about Q, we need 3-point shooting. Q, we need 3-and-D guys like DC just went on the spill about. Q, we need this. We need this deal with the money. Q, we need these players at this right. And I'm like, family, you're absolutely right. I cannot dispute y'all on that. But the issue that I'm having problems with is, can they overcome the communication obstacle? That's huge. That's the reason why we are sitting out of here 10 games under 500. And for 2 years straight with Zion Williamson missing the playoffs, when we had an opportunity to did it last year. Last year, B.I. was a all-star. This year, he had all-star type numbers. Lonzo's numbers was up there. We had these guys for the summation. You look at the article we just covered. B.I. and Zion missed 11-something games the whole damn season. We played 72-something games this year. We had them for the bulk of the season, but the best we can do was, 31 and 41?
And look what NAW did by himself. And look what NAW did by himself at the end of the season. You can't depend on that.
Right, and you in a lot of it, and Coach Stan and Van Gundy said that he made some mistakes in his decision making, calling certain plays when they wasn't supposed to be called, getting in the way of the rhythm of the game. We often talked about that, during the season, him getting in the way, making substitutions, not fully developing the 5 people off the bench, was staggering when you didn't need to stagger. All that stuff, we was calling it out. And we kept saying, bro, you got to find people on that bench, dig into the bench. And ultimately found Billy Hernan Gomez. He found NAW. He found KLJ. He found Najee Marshall. He found all of these guys later on due to injuries, but not because it was organic. He was forced to go in that direction, which is, had he had the mentality to develop those guys early on, you would have got a better return on them later on. So I'm saying after saying all that shit, all I'm saying is, can they overcome the communication issues? Because that's the biggest flipping thing that we dealing with going into this offseason. Are these guys or whoever you going to bring in here is going to listen to him? Because he yelling his head off. I got to give him credit. Stan Van Gundy, if anything he going to do 2 things. He going to eat and he going to yell his freaking head off. That's one thing Stan Van Gundy going to do. That's 2 things you can't fault him on. He going to yell his damn head off. And he was doing that all season long. And the best we can do is 10 games under 500 in back-to-back years under Griffin missing the playoffs when he came all the way up in here with all that talking. So miss me with the excuses of Griffin and all these other people and these talking about the C19 stuff when they got teams that we beat convincingly that's sitting up in the playoffs right now ahead of us. I mean, look what we did to the Utah Jazz. Remember when we beat the Utah Jazz? When we knocked them out of there and beat them down? We were up on Portland in those games and then let them have it, and the collapses and all this kind of nonsense. And they sat up there and watched that happen and they make the adjustment soon. That's what I'm talking about. In Milwaukee, remember that when we beat the shit out of Milwaukee on them? Remember that? I can go over a ton of them. But at the end of the day, fam, it's the communication issues that got me upset, and it's the inconsistency because these are professionals. Zion Williamson is a star generational talent. You got B.I., they awesome. These guys are spectacular players, man. Spectacular players. This team is just dumbfounded to me. But that's the biggest thing I have.
Team, bro.
It is, bro. Team. I was saying this is a playoff team all season long, but we got to get over.
Adams can start on half of the teams in the NBA. Look at some of these teams in the playoffs right now. Steven Adams can probably start for like half of them.
We couldn't figure it out and fast enough, bro. And that's the thing that killed us. But hold on, big 504 boss man. I'm gonna flip back to you, bro. Let me get Brother James, and they've been patiently waiting. Brother James, welcome to the stream, my fam. You've been quietly sitting there listening to everybody. Let hear what you got to say, brother.
Yeah, welcome, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Glad to be here. Hope y'all doing good tonight.
Yes, sir.
So I'm probably gonna be the complete opposite of everybody else that's been up here so far. I understand everybody's frustration, and it has been a poor year. I don't think, looking at this team, that it was a playoff team. Now that we think about it, like it going in, we had the expectation, but I think that maybe our expectation was a little bit too high for this particular thing. Nobody expected Eric Bledsoe to completely be the ass that he was this entire year. Nobody saw that company. Remember when we traded for him, everybody had the expectation that he's going to be at least 70% to 80% of what Drew Holiday gave us, right? That was everybody's expectation. He was more like 20% of what Drew Holiday gave us. Nobody could have expected that he was going to be
he got ran out of Milwaukee for playing bad though.
Right. But see, even then it was like,
It
okay,
was in the playoffs though.
right, there you go.
I know.
And it was more about in the playoffs, which is at this point like, hey, we'll worry about the playoffs when we get to the playoffs. Long as he still do what he do during the season, we'll work with that. He didn't do that. And it also could have been a situation he just didn't work well in the starting lineup, because we saw toward later in when everybody was hurt, when he was out there by himself, he was hooping. So maybe that was a situation where it just didn't go well with Lonzo Ball. I will say that, like I said, when it comes to Stan Van Gundy, I was this person that I wasn't upset with the choice. I didn't expect him, because it's like everybody wanted to go a younger way and everything like that. But I also understand why he was signed. And I was listening to someone, I'm pretty sure you guys heard of Shamit, right? Yeah, you got that covers the
Shamit Gould, huh?
Yeah, I was listening to him in a Twitter space that we was on, and he brought up that the reason why he was brought in is because that the one thing Stan does very well, make sure the trains run on time. Like Alvin Gentry didn't give a shit about none of this stuff. He was like, hey, you get here when you get here, you do this, all this stuff. Stan Van Gundy is very anal when it comes to a lot of that stuff. When it's like, hey, you be here at this time, we do this. He made the train run on time with that case. The other thing is too is that he also said that the plan was for Nall to take over and be the starting two guard until Nall got hurt. Like he said, he talked to a lot of people that was on the coaching staff. He said that was the plan until he got hurt. And it was like, well, shit. At this point, we might well keep Eric Bledsoe in the starting lineup, because now it's like we don't have nobody to come in and come off the bench no more. So that's what it was. That's the only thing that in that case that I think at some point they were going to make the switch. Unfortunately, injuries hit us at the exact wrong time in that case. I don't believe that this team can look the same next year. I don't even want to see Nickeil Alexander-Walker as the starting two guard next year. I think his better role is to be like a Manu Ginobili coming off the bench. Like he is
Jordan Clarkson.
He could be that energy to come off the bench, and we need to find someone. And whether we keep Lonzo Ball or not, but we need someone that can defend, that is also can shoot the ball. Like a lot of people bring up Duncan Robinson, who is a specialist when it comes to shooting. I don't know. At least he tries on defense, but I don't know how that necessarily will look overall. I personally think that there are going to be a lot of big moves that even a lot of us may not expect coming this year. And maybe they get rid of Adams at some point. As much as a lot of people say that he would do well for a lot of these other teams, it's a lot of these teams that's probably doing good with centers that ain't making as much money as Adams too. So that's that's the going back and forth with that. These other teams also have spacing. We didn't have a lot of spacing this year. We saw that whenever Zion went into the post, like all five of them dudes collapsed on him because they didn't give a damn about the outside. Nobody struck fear on the outside. As well as Lonzo shot the ball, he really didn't strike fear in him. Hell, even B.I. did not strike enough fear in them for them to care enough to keep them from staying on their men. So I think they're going to try to find a lot of guys like that. I don't see them keeping the first round pick this year. I think they're going to end up trading it. I don't think they need to associate it with Bledsoe. I think they will find someone to get a veteran. And I say this is too. I think Bledsoe will be a lot easier to move than we may think, because his contract is expired. And that's attractive to a lot of teams that may be trying to get from under cap spaces. And if you look at a lot of teams that are not doing very well, like let's say the Timberwolves, the Pacers, all these teams are really cap strapped going forward, and they not winning. And they trying to get up off these contracts that they have. So maybe some players that we could get, maybe some future draft assets to get up off it. Even if it's second round pick, just get his ass up off the team. Like I don't, and so I just think that it's a disappointing year. I also look at the bright side of that. At least the one thing we can look at is that we have film going forward. We can look at it and say, okay, we can operate this way. We can put certain people in this better position. We can have these type of talent on our team. We got Point Zion came of it. I don't know how much they're gonna lean on it, but they did say that sound like Griffin said they're going to lean more on Point Zion. So I'm assuming that's going to dictate how they're going to build the team going forward. Because remember, coming into this year, everybody kept saying Zion at the 5. Nobody saw Point Zion coming, and then, like I said, I can give Stan Van Gundy credit with that. He did put the ball in his hand, and more gradually as the year went on. So, and someone said they need to develop players that's cheaper. It takes too long too. Like, that's another thing that a lot of people was like, it take a long time. We have the third youngest team in the NBA, and that's with 34-year-old Bledsoe and 28-year-old. Even though Adam looked like he's 55 years old, he won the older dude on team. Like, at this point, we have 4-5 young players on this team. It's time to get some real good veterans on here.
DC, go ahead and comment on what Brother James said.
Man, Brother James comment on the whole shit and shaboodle, bro, the whole shebang bang. You know what I'm saying? I really can't disagree with a lot of what he's saying, man. He had a lot of valid points, and he spoke to a lot of things that I feel myself, like, far as once we get out of just like blaming it all on Van Gundy and looking at wasting Zion's time here and a lot of that. It's like they got a lot of things that really need to be changed up and addressed with this team to go ahead and improve them. And like Boss Man was saying, last year, offensively, we looked great. We was world beaters last year offensively, but we had no discipline. You know what I'm saying? And Brother James spoke to Stan Van Gundy being a guy that's gonna right that ship and have them be disciplined. And that was one thing after last season that we was harping on. Whatever coach that came in here had to be a guy that held them accountable and made them do the little things and look at the details, because that's what they were missing. But unfortunately, discipline is one of those things that everybody needs, but all the time you don't really want it, even though you need it. So them not vibing with Van Gundy, I kind of expected that a little bit. But what I didn't expect was for them to not have a player or an assistant or somebody just to fill that void to kind of smooth it out. And I think that's what we missing. But the strategy of us being able to get better three-point shooting, like I like what he said about Duncan Robinson. I don't know how much money it would cost, but I could tell you this: if you had a shooter like Duncan Robinson, even if he couldn't play a lick of defense, he would just overall improve the whole team, because all of that, when Zion goes and 5 guys being on him, they can't do that. They can't do that. You got at least one guy that's going to have to stay with Duncan Robinson. And when he start running all over the place doing his thing like Steph Curry do, they got to follow that guy just like they follow Steph Curry. So he creates like another dynamic or opens up another aspect of your offense for you to be able to dominate the paint like you want to, and also bring you to a higher level with the three-point shooting with the addition of NAW. And I thought it was an excellent point for you to point out Ginobili and his comparisons to NAW, because I do think it's something there, with that. He would be a 6 man, but basically playing starter minutes. But you can get somebody who could come in and kind of set the tone defensively at that 2 guard position. Maybe one of them 3-and-D guys I keep talking about him getting. And you can have that guy to set the tone, or maybe look at having maybe a 3 guard lineup at times with the Point Zion thing, where you got 3 guys that can shoot threes and break you down on the dribble on top of Zion. You know what I'm saying? And whether Brandon Ingram in the game or not, that you're doing that when you resting Brandon Ingram if you want stagger. So he spoke to a lot of stuff. I feel the whole thing about it, we just need to get more. We need to get more guys that could do multiple things, man. What we got, because our 2 stars are very versatile, so we need role players that can kind of be in the same mode. Because BI can kind of play point guard, shooting guard, small forward, or power forward. You know what I'm saying? Zion could play power forward, probably small forward, and point guard. So we need to get role players that can kind of mesh with them and match with them as they want to change their game with different strategies. And Van Gundy definitely got to step his game up, being able to adjust. That's the one thing I didn't hear you mention, brother, but you basically covered everything else, all of their problems in a nutshell. So if we can figure out how to adjust, especially defensively, when we start getting cut, because it's like once we get cut, man, it takes us like quarters to stop the bleed. Like we go for quarters before we figure out how to stop the bleed. You know what I'm saying? It's so bad where they should call a timeout when they bleed. And Stan Van Gundy don't even call a timeout because he know it ain't gonna do shit. So it's like, damn. But excellent points, both of y'all. Really, I feel your pain too, boss man, bro. Like I know you sick of Van Gundy, and I definitely understand it. I didn't want him to hire him either, even though I try to talk to him sometimes because I respect his basketball mind as a coach, and I done seen him do some really good things. So they can definitely achieve a high level of success with Van Gundy. But ultimately, if we want to win the championship, bro, we're going to have to move on from Van Gundy at some point if we're really serious about being a contender.
And I will say this one thing, too, is that I don't think Stan Van Gundy is the long-term solution. Like, I think he was just brought in to get rid of the bad habit that Alvin Gentry didn't do much for in that sense. I think, like Sham said something, I kind of see it now, is that he think they may be grooming Teresa Weatherspoon to probably be that long-term guy that's going to take over as the coach. And if you sit there, you listen to all the players, they always talk about how Teresa Weatherspoon
what about Freddie Vincent?
Well, possibly
either one of them. I like them.
Either one of them. But you always hear about Teresa Weatherspoon. But the only other point that I was going to make was the reason why I would take that article, not the article, but what the guy from Sacramento say with a grain of salt is because he's in Sacramento. Who else is in Sacramento? Alvin Gentry and Luke Walton. And the one thing that they do well is to survive. And if you listen to that whole video that man was on, they was using Stan Van Gundy as a reason not to fire Luke Walton. Like that was so if you watch the whole video, it's like, come on now. Like they was trying to say, oh, you don't need to fire Luke Walton, or you don't need to fire.
Because you got Gentry behind them.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I take that with a grain of salt.
That's why Gentry went out there, because I said that when Gentry he left the Pelicans and he had 2 jobs. He was licking his chops. He went to Sacramento because he still wants to be a head coach. If he'd went to Philadelphia, there's no way he would have gotten an opportunity. Because remember, Doc Rivers wanted Gentry out there with him in Philly.
Yeah,
he said
he saw blood in the
before
water.
He got Mike D'Antoni, huh? That's right.
Gentry will never get another head coaching job in his life.
He might get it if they fire Luke Walton.
They've been handing them out to him all this time, bro. I don't think it's just gonna stop now.
I thought he was sleeping drunk half the time. He was coaching.
Yeah, you would be right, sir.
I bet $5. I bet $5 next year they're gonna fire Luke Walton in the middle of the season, and Alvin Gentry gonna take over. And Alvin Gentry gonna take over. I'm telling you, because the one thing Alvin Gentry know how to do is survive.
That's right. Great point.
I don't understand why we had to have Alvin Gentry a season to let him accumulate those bad habits on our players.
I mean, I was like, he didn't do nothing to deserve to even be with Zion for one.
I honestly
he went
think
to the playoffs with AD, DeMarcus Cousins, and Rondo, bro. That was his crown jewel.
I honestly think the only reason why Alvin Gentry did get fired then is because when they first came in, they may not have had the pool of people that they wanted to bring in. So it's just like, you know what? If Alvin Gentry is about to be on his last year anyway, because remember they extended him not to really just say, okay, you our coach, but to make sure that you're right.
Van Gundy would have came out the boot last year.
Well, he may not have been there. And then if we think about it too, like who I forgot who it was that brought up the coach in Boston. He having issues out there with his players too. They talking about they not listening to him. And also they saying that he can't work well with talent. Like he's had a lot of talent and has underperformed with that talent. So we talking about guys that are already in the league that are on their level. We still, we think Zion gonna be on that level. We think B.I. gonna be at that level. Jason Tatum is there.
He's a superstar.
Jaylen Brown is there, and they still not there. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not, they're underperforming. So even then, I would kind of Yeah, and then remember they were talking about Ty Lue. Ty Lue look like he's struggling with the Clippers. Now they beating the hell out of them.
They're waxing them boys right now.
Right, they waxing them now.
They're gonna run off.
Clippers
might be 4 in a row, bro.
Yeah,
with the Clippers.
So but it's a situation where I don't know who the coach has been. I mean, I had said I wanted Nate McMillan. Like I wanted Nate McMillan when he had got fired from the Pacers, and but Stan Van Gundy and Nate McMillan both come from that same type of, like you say, they preach accountability, they preach defense and stuff like that. So maybe in this situation, because the one thing Atlanta has is talent, and they had talent that work well around each other. And I think if you really looked at the Pelicans this year, outside of Brandon Ingram, outside of Zion, and even if you want to include Lonzo Ball, the talent wasn't really. It was there as far as namesake, but it just didn't max well together. You see what I'm saying? Like, and y'all talk about Josh Hart. We have Najee Marshall, who's going to cost us like $1.5 million next year. I don't see him. I don't see him coming back. I don't see Josh Hart coming back because Najee bring us that exact same thing that Josh Hart give us, and he's 2 or 3 inches taller.
He is that, but he don't play with that same. Josh Hart,
he played with that. Yeah.
Najee, brother James. Najee got to stop bringing the suitcase with him every time he play basketball, bro.
The suitcase?
He constantly traveling, bro. I mean, he always traveling, and I'm just messing with him on that. But this is the thing about Najee Marshall. I like him a lot. I think Najee Marshall, when he played for Xavier, I scouted him. I think he's a terrific player. That Josh Hart factor, that dog, man. And that's like one of the only players that we have to have that dog mentality. And I'm like, we'll see where it shakes, and because you're right.
I feel like Najee got that dog mentality.
He ain't got that same dog like Josh.
Did that dog worth $10 million that can't shoot?
Can he shoot?
I think Najee got.
I'm talking about Hart. I'm talking about Hart. Like that Hart ain't really a consistent shooter.
Is Najee Marshall a consistent? Well, you stand for the 1 mil, right?
But again, I'm talking about somebody that's gonna cost you $10 million, the other person gonna cost you 1.5.
Yeah, that's true. But it's a difference in talent there, though. You're talking about a young man who's still very much developing. He did show some skill and potential. But you're talking about Josh Hart. I know what I'm getting with Josh Hart. I'm just saying, man, at the end of the day, I'm a Josh Hart guy because I love his effort and his intensity. $10 million, you're right, that is a lot of money. But at the end, we'll see how it all shakes, my brother, because that is a good rate to have for Najee Marshall at under $2 million. You're absolutely right on that. Go ahead, boss man. What you got, brother? Brother James, drop it.
Nah, man. I agree with a lot what my boy James said. Man, he broke it down. But see, one thing about it is, you also Zion is the exciting fact about himself. But when you watch the game, you know what I'm saying, besides Zion and Brandon Ingram pretty much going in, nobody else bringing nothing to the table. And what pisses me off, like I can't say Point Zion made Zion better as a player if you take one positive from it. And it gives us more options as far as like the style we play. But I don't think that's something we should sit on, not even 50% of the time. Look what happens when LeBron starts to get ball dominant, and he's where he's at in his career. You couldn't start him as a point guard because it'll just, it'll mess up the whole system. So, I feel like if we're gonna keep Lonzo Ball and pay him $20 million, because he's not taking less than 20, bro. He's not taking less than 20. People hype. I don't think Lonzo is super, all the way upper echelon type of player myself. I think he's a great role player, starter in the NBA. But I feel like Point Zion is pretty much decreasing his value by not putting him at the point. Like, if we're going to pay him starting point guard money, we need to play point.
You got a point, bro. But I mean, I look at Lonzo as a package deal. You got 2 superstars that want him here. So it's like Zion contract. I mean, he gonna be eligible for an extension.
Zion getting a max
after this year.
Zion get max.
He coming out basically on in front of everybody, pleading with you for the sign Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, pretty much.
Brandon Ingram is your superstar. He basically getting up there doing the same thing. He's a generational talent. We need him. Blah, blah, blah. Like, so it's like, regardless of how we feel about him as a player, or if we don't feel he's good enough to go on a 20 million, you got to feel he's good enough to go on a 16.
Oh yeah,
17, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
so okay, us overpaying him $3 million or whatever to make your superstars happy, I don't think that's such a bad idea. And you just figure out everything else later,
though, bro.
Huh?
Does that make us better as a team? If he doesn't, I mean, he made improvements. I can say this. I used to be one of the people that thought that Lonzo was kind of like on some Austin Rivers type shit, like play hard like 30% of the game and then jog down the court. Most like when they first started playing the first few games, when they told Lonzo attack, that boy was going off because he can really drive. He could really play physical, but he's not one of them players that's like a spark type player. He's not scrappy. He's just one of them players that like to be smooth with it. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay, if I want to keep Zion happy, cool. All right, let's give him 22 mil. Let's just 22. All right, but we don't make the playoffs again. And then we can't sign a vet that's going to put 15 on the board and do multiple things that we need. I think we need a starting shooting guard, first of all. Not undersized. I'm tired of us having undersized starting shooting guards. It's been like that since E'Twaun Moore, Galloway. I can keep going back and forth. We're going to have 15 point guards. Like, how many times we going to have this type of stuff going on?
I'm about to say, at $22 million, though, Lonzo Ball at $22 million, what he bring is a very, very movable contract later on if it don't pan out. I think that's when you sign someone, the one thing you look for is that, can we get up off this contract? Can we trade him?
Right.
And with a team like, you know, if it's a championship team or a team that need that third guy, that they don't need him maybe to be the main point guard, but somebody to bring. Like right now, the Clippers, if they had the money, would trade for Lonzo Ball in a heartbeat. If you know, they would wish they would have somebody to go along with Rondo, because the one thing Rondo can't do is play defense right now, and the one thing Pat Bev cannot do is shoot. And Lonzo bring both of that. So if you have a team out there that has a little bit of money they can spend on $22 million, it'll be in a couple years, like 2 years, $22 million ain't gonna be nothing for Lonzo Ball. It's not gonna be nothing. So I don't think teams are gonna be offering that more than for him.
Do you want to keep Lonzo though? Do you want to keep him?
I would. I personally, I would keep him for 2 things.
But as a point guard,
I think you get him for 20.
Hold on. And that's the thing we gotta talk about. We don't want Lonzo as a wing player. That's not his natural position. He doesn't like playing the wing. Like playing the wing.
Let me say this, boss man, and y'all great points there. DC talked about this before on the show, where he always kind of tipped back on what Van Gundy was doing in respect to Dwayne Wade. He did the same thing to Dwayne Wade when he was in Miami. He played Wayne. Remember that, DC? Same deal.
Yeah.
Did him the exact same thing.
He played Wade at point guard for a whole year, dog.
And then switched him to 2. And Dwayne Wade also came, and Wade said that helped this game out tremendously. So this is the same thing he doing with Lonzo in reverse. And I say, if you when they do, because ultimately it should be already decided. Zion, you want Zion to remain. You got BI here. You seen them excel together. They want Lonzo here. You give them Lonzo. You know, you make them happy. You keep that unit together. And then, of course, you just have to ship out Eric Bledsoe, because really the money's right there, family. I mean, Bledsoe, what, DC 16 this year, 18 next year?
$19 million right there.
Right there.
Once you get rid of Eric Bledsoe.
Get rid of Bledsoe, and you can pay him
let
whatever.
Josh Hart walk, that's another $12 million, $10 million, whatever he would have made.
Then, right, and 15 off the books from James Johnson off top, and 30-something million if you won't throw Steven Adams in the mix. Say, you know what, we can go with Jackson Hayes and Billy Hernangomez and draft a 4-5 tweener in a draft to back those guys up, or bring in a cheap veteran, or bring in a number 4, another number 4, or bring Johnson back at a cheaper rate. All these are options. that they could play with if they keep their mind open to being imaginative. But go ahead, boss man. I'm gonna let you. Then we're gonna go back
you
to
said about, I want to say one thing, and I'm gonna go ahead and be quiet. But what you said about Van Gundy is
you. You have to be quiet, DC. Unless you're
is
talking that
very
Cam
telling,
Reddish
bro.
stuff, I don't want to
Go
hear all
ahead,
that.
talk your shit, DC.
Van Gundy also said, bro, when before he even came here, just like when he was talking about the Pelicans, he was lighting up over Lonzo Ball, saying, "Man, that guy, if I had him, I would turn him into a shooter because he knows how to pass. He already knows how to do that. I don't have to teach him that. But what he needs to learn is to be aggressive as a scorer. So I would turn him into a 3-and-D guy, a shooter, and let him learn to be aggressive as a scorer and to take the shots." And he said he would learn and know when to shoot and when to pass based off of going through a whole period of just shooting. And that's exactly what he did with him. So I I've been saying that, and I think if they keep him, they obviously are gonna play him at point guard.
They got to.
And they complaining about it now, and they mad. Lonzo Ball said ain't really what he does. Bi and them talking about he a
But
generational talent, and
he
I thought
excelled at it.
we could give guys better rules and all that. So he got him where Van Gundy got him where he wanted.
Yep.
Now when he come in next year, you be like, look, you're gonna play point guard, but I need you to listen to me and do exactly as I tell you. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Now you can set it all up. And then when you run the point Zion thing, Lonzo Ball not just looking stupid because he don't have the ball in his hands, not knowing what to do.
Right.
He gonna easily convert into a 3-and-D guy. So I mean, it's all right there if we pulling the trigger on it. But the cog in the wheel to me is our GM. With that guy, it's like I'm shell shocked. I don't know what the fuck to believe.
What GM?
Dude,
he
you would have
says
sworn that Lonzo signed the contract yesterday.
Wow,
Listen
Vice
to him.
President, I mean, Big Q, I'm sorry.
Oh.
But he says one thing and you buy into it, and then he just goes a totally different direction. Like, I don't know what the hell.
He's like, Lonzo wants to be here. How do you know that?
Lonzo said he wanted to be here.
Yeah.
Saying
Several times.
and doing is two different. I don't want to have another Eric Gordon situation, bro. My boy Eric Gordon made more money in a suit than I seen in anybody in my entire life sitting on the sideline, bro. He was the best Hornets, Pelicans.
What about Pedro Stojakovic, dog? Pedro Stojakovic.
You said
he milked us for about 3 seasons.
No. Pedro ain't got nothing on him. Man, that boy Eric Gordon was getting 20 points, averaging 20 points on a bench type of contract. I said, no. I see Eric Gordon more than I see the mascot.
No, look, no more Erics. No more Erics. No more Erics. Like, if it's a player,
if they don't want to be
no
here, get them out. If they don't want to be here, get them out. Like y'all said, Eric Bledsoe walk around like with his head down. Like as soon as he came to Armstrong Airport, like his head was down. Like you can tell he don't want to be on the team. He don't want to be around a bunch of rooks. He don't want to be on a team that's not competing. He does not want to be there. Period. So we should have never. I don't even know why we even got him in the beginning. I didn't like the trade to Milwaukee in the beginning. We didn't get no value for Drew. Like DC said, we should have got the little white dude. I don't know his name. White boy, the shooting guard.
DiVincenzo.
We should have got him, or we should have got.
They wasn't giving him up.
I think they did that because they had to.
You
make
don't think
the
they
money
would have gave him up for Drew Holiday, Q?
But they had to make the money work. They had to make the money. Drew was making
you
almost
throwing
20 million.
DiVincenzo, you throwing Arizola or the guy they had, and you throwing George Hill. You get that money, you give them like 4 guys.
But honestly, to be honest with you, the picks though, like I think a lot of people don't realize just how more valuable the picks is, because like even though a lot of people say, oh, it's gonna be low round pick, them picks so far out in the future, they don't know what it's gonna end up being, and people still want them picks. They want, like, look at old boy with the OKC, like he just stockpiling picks. He don't care what it is, he just want a first. If it's a first, just give it to me. Look at right now with Houston Rockets, they outside of this year, they don't really have too much.
They want to do the process. They want to go to process, but they don't care.
The picks ain't no good when you give all the damn players away that you draft and you don't really get no back for.
But that was the part of the game though in OKC was to bottom out and basically gave Chris Paul away because they wanted that young team that they were going to build and collect those and try to build through the draft again, like they did in previous years. And
They
of
ain't got
course, the
Zion
draft.
on their team though.
But they have what's his name? NAW's cousin. That's pretty good.
SVG.
Shy
LeCuz.
Gilgeous Alexander, right?
LeCuz over there. Yeah, LeCuz over
Right.
there.
So I mean, he's a good player, but they got a few more assets to have. But that's a good statement there, brother James. That those picks, the Pelicans have so many picks, you don't know what they're going to be. And like I said, I think to a degree, the Pelicans going to take up some of those picks and trade them for established talent. I think that's what we're going to see this upcoming season, simply because this is Griffin's third season and he's starting to feel the heat. He's starting to feel the heat, and he must produce. So you're going to see an air of desperation and urgency in the Pelicans building this year to try to build this team forward, moving forward. And that's the thing that's going to be interesting. So relying on the draft for players that you have to rely for Stan Van Gundy to develop, baby. When Van Gundy doesn't even want to be part of the process of drafting players. He doesn't want. He almost had a connection fit when they got KLJ.
I seen that before he came.
He's shaking.
Here. Look, hey, you know what, Big Q? I seen that.
Oh,
I don't know.
KLJ.
I don't know
KLJ.
KLJ.
Oh, KLJ. No.
Big Q, he coached himself
What
out of
the hell
Detroit.
wrong with that man?
He coached himself out
Chill,
of
Big
Detroit.
Q. Chill, Big Q.
And when they asked that boy about the draft, that boy face turned like he thought he about to pass away. As soon as he turned into the Pac-Man ghost. That boy said, I don't know nothing about the draft pick. I don't have nothing to do with it.
I said, hold on. Remember, I played that and I stopped. I said, hold on, family. Did y'all hear what that man just said? Did you just hear Van Gundy, the report? I think that was Jen Hill asked him about that. And he said, oh, no, I had nothing to do. I was like, hold on. You mean to tell me they drafting players and you ain't even involved in the process? And I thought, I said, that would make sense where there's no incentive for him to play the guy.
That's like you asking Sean Payton, why you picked Peyton Turner? Look, I don't know nothing.
I like his name.
But look, I will say this though. I think also the same situation too is that David Griffin said that if G League happened this year, KLJ would have been the G League. Like he would have got his time there. And the other thing is too is I think Stan Van Gundy got so much PTSD from his horrible time doing the whole drafting in Detroit. He don't want nothing to do with nothing outside of coaching. Like he don't want to draft. He don't want to sign nobody. Like he don't want.
That's terrible though, bro. That's terrible.
That's horrible. They started asking him about draft picks, and he started shaking.
He want to do this.
He probably put that mask on tighter. You know he got that mask on tighter.
He's like he traded Chris Middleton. He's like, I'm done with that. No, I ain't never do that again. I'm good.
He did? He Chris Middleton?
Remember Chris Middleton was on Detroit before he went to Milwaukee.
He drafted Stanley Johnson with like the number 8 pick.
I think so. Yeah.
He passed up so many players, right? It was like so many good players. He could have tripped over another player and did way better than that.
And we had Stanley Johnson.
They ran.
Point guard over here.
Listen, fam, let me tell you something. Stan Van Gundy ain't walk out of Detroit. He ran out of Detroit. They were shooting at him. That's like got PTSD. That's what happened. They were shooting at his ass on the plane. They ran out. He was shooting at him. That's why. Man, come on. You got listen. I'm just saying it's very unfundamental for them to be involved. Not be involved. And even if you give them a list of players and say, listen, I like these guys. If you can get these guys on the team in the draft, I appreciate it. But to say straight up fam, that none of these I wasn't involved at all. Now, and I feel like okay, I'm picking guys for a coach for my interpretation of the coach has to be involved because he knows which players fit them. He got to be involved. Right. That's dysfunctional. And I kept naming. I was like, that's dysfunctional. That's not very odd.
The GM and the head coach are connected by the hip, and every draft pick, and this is with any sport, is supposed to be the type of player that you want to play in that system of that coach. It's not about what the GM wants, it's about what the coach wants.
Right.
Because the coach coaches the players. The GM doesn't coach the players.
He didn't have the players he wanted. I don't believe Stan Van Gundy had the guys he would have preferred.
Stan Van Gundy like shooters, bro. That's his whole thing. Like
shoot the defense, bro. If you can shoot and play defense, you play for Stan Van Gundy.
Well, the crazy thing is that about Stan is that I I think Stan is the person that he'll build whatever team around as long as he got enough talent. Because remember, like even with not Detroit, with the Orlando Magic, that wasn't on purpose. It was just so happened a situation where he like, oh shoot, okay, I got this big dude in the middle that they got the double team.
That was 4-0. Everybody shooting, everybody play defense.
And once I ain't gonna lie, I like the Magic. I like how the Magic had all these 6'10" dudes, Turgaloo,
right?
Rashard Lewis,
Ryan Anderson.
Ryan Anderson went out there yet, but it was Turgaloo.
Well, Anderson wasn't there. Was when he was there?
Nah, he came later. Q.
Yeah, he came later.
He came towards the end of it.
Yeah, it was Turkaloo, Rashard Lewis,
that's
Jameer Nelson,
JJ Redick was there because he was
Jameer Nelson,
Jameer, and Skitzer Malou was there too.
Gilbert Arenas was over there at 1 point too.
Yeah, they traded for Gilbert later on after his whole situation with Washington.
He coached that team. They overachieved because that team wasn't supposed to be the finals, dog.
Yeah, because they beat Cleveland. They beat Cleveland to get to that. Yeah, but the crazy thing is, even in the finals, when the Lakers beat them in 5 games, all of them games were close. Like all of them games was close. But
I think a team full of shooters.
Yeah, and I think that's what another thing is too, is that I think David Griffin wants, because you brought up the whole Lonzo Ball thing about him shooting and also handing the ball. I think he want enough people on the court that can do both. Like I think he want a situation where you don't have to rely on one guy that will handle the rock, and you can have if you give it to BI, he can handle the rock. If you give it to Lonzo, he can handle it. Zion can handle the rock. They need somebody else that can go in there and they also can shoot as well. Because I don't know how well Zion will be able to shoot later on this year, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if he will have a great ascension when it comes to shooting this year, because he does look like to put in a lot of work with his stepfather this year. But we'll see going forward. But outside of that, like you could do a 1 in 4 out with Adams. Like I don't think Adams was a huge issue as long as it was Adams and Eric Bledsoe that caused so much problems on offense. And I don't know if they'll trade Adams because his contract goes from $30 million to $17 million the next 2 years. So in that way, and I still don't think Jackson is ready to start yet. But I think it may be a situation where you have Jackson playing the 4 like he did a couple games this year with Adams on the court or something like that, and mix it up here and there, or you put Zion at the 1 and
that worked now.
You see
Jackson
what I'm saying?
looked good at that 4 when he played him now.
He looked good. Jackson Hayes looked good at the 4.
They had that 2 center lineup they ran, but it was
killing
good.
Like Tyson Chandler on some shit. They need to bring. He can shoot. They need to give him a mid-range jumper some type of way. They need to start moving people around, dog, because they getting everybody clogged up in that paint, bro, and just throwing Zion in there and kick out the ball. Like, it's getting predictable. They need to move. What'd you say, Big Q?
No, go ahead and finish your thought, my brother.
No, and I don't like the boys on spot, bro. You be paying attention to what the boys saying. James, you be paying attention to what they're saying. I don't like when Griffin starts to relate our team to other teams' rosters. I can't stand that. We don't have the same players and the same talent as some of these other teams. These people talking about, like when he drafted Lewis Jr. Well, the other teams in the league, the parodies, you can have multiple point guards at the same time. This person can throw the ball and shoot the pad. It's all about shooting the pad, but at the same time, you got to have a player out there for a specific reason. I don't want to have 4 point guards and Zion playing at the same time, dog. You ain't going to win in the playoffs. You got all these big-ass teams with all this size, and you got 6'6" Zion and 6'1" Carr and Bledsoe. Like, come on, bro.
That's always that, DC. That's organized confusion, DC. But I'm saying you got to have discipline to operate that style of system and know when to give the ball to who at what point of the game.
That's what I'm about to say. It don't matter when you got, you can have 3 point guards out there, but out of them 3 point guards, one of them know what everybody's supposed to be and what everybody's supposed to be doing, and he gonna direct them on what they is on that play. Right. Because you got a guy that's superior intellect-wise, IQ-wise, basketball.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like Lonzo Ball is. As passive as he can be sometimes, he know ball. Because I see that dude, bro. He be telling them like they be messing up, and he be pointing at them like, you know, you're supposed to go over there. And then he'll make eye contact with him or something, do the cut and go to the lane, and they don't even see him and don't pass him the ball. You know what I'm saying? So like he know what's supposed to happen. And players like that, like everybody, I mean, every team needs a guy like that. You know, now with the league the way it is, they come at different positions. But normally that was always the point guard. You know, old school basketball. The point guard knew every position on the floor. That's why he was considered the point guard and the leader of the team. You know what I'm saying? The floor general, because he know what everybody's supposed to do. And when people wasn't sure what they were supposed to do on broken plays and all of that, the point guard to show you or tell you what to do or come here, set this pick, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go this way. You know, every time I go this way, you're supposed to roll over here. So it's like that whole dynamic. When you got that going on, then you can do everything like what Griffin's saying. But if you just got three guys and nobody don't like had that command or had that trust of their teammates, like when I tell you to do this, you know I'm telling you the right thing.
Well,
it creates confusion.
I say this one thing to when it go to the Lonzo Ball IQ, and I'm gonna hop off. Last year we were playing the Utah Jazz. I think it was the one game that we had beat them. Every time Mitchell would come down the court, Lonzo Ball was on him and gave him fits. So what would happen was the next couple plays, Mitchell would get a screen to get Lonzo Ball up off him.
Right.
The next play after that, Lonzo Ball took the screen, man. That way, so when they did the screen, he ended up on Mitchell. Like, did nobody tell him that he did that after seeing two straight plays? They trying to get me up off him. And as soon as he started getting the screen, man, all of a sudden Mitchell started having problems again. So he, like you say, he has the IQ. He can play, and he has the ball. I think it's just more of, one, he's still young. He's still trying to figure out things. Like, everybody can't be like CP3, who all of a sudden they just get it. Right, CP3 is just one-on-one. He's a whole different level. Same thing with LeBron. They're a whole different animal. I think when it comes to Lonzo Ball, he just need more time to see it. He just must see more of that. Like you said, you seen him where he would tell them, do this, and they wouldn't do it, and then all of a sudden he looking at them like, I told you this was going to happen.
Right. He put his head down, you know, he looking, we like, man, why Lonzo looking so passive? He frustrated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you right, brother. Point guard is the hardest position, and they don't always get it that first go wrong. I got 3 names for you. And when they first was in the league for a while, nobody didn't think much of them. Steve Nash, Rajon Rondo, Jason Kidd, he hit or miss. But a lot of people didn't think Jason Kidd was gonna be what he became his first 3-4 years. He was like, he good. Even the teams, man, they threw Jason Kidd all around, man. He was all over everywhere. He was in Phoenix, he was in Dallas. Then he wound up going to the Nets, you know what I'm saying? He had to figure it out. Like, point guard sometimes, it take 4 or 5 years for them sometimes, man, before they start to really climb. I mean, Steve Nash ain't really hit his stride till like his 5th or 6th year. You know what I'm saying? It turned into kind of what we see as Steve Nash. You just looked at him like, he's a good little point guard. He can shoot, you know what I'm saying? He don't miss when he open hit his free throws. That's it. You ain't see him as Steve Nash. You know what I'm saying? So it's about having the right coach that's going to let you do more. Your teammates trusting you, and you having that confidence, bro. That's Lonzo need all 3 of those things. I think he got the teammates thing. B.I. and Zion will defer to him, and if they had to. Stan Van Gundy maybe building that trust with him, and you can see obviously his confidence has improved this year. Still ain't where I think it needs to be, because he got to be able to finish at the rim. But if that guy ever figures out how to get a goddamn layup package, bro, they're in trouble. The league is in trouble, dog. The league is in trouble. I'm telling you.
Say it again. What'd you say?
If he figure out how to get a goddamn layup package,
a
top tier layup package, you know, like his little brother got, the league will be in fucking trouble.
I'm about to say he is one layup package away from being a top 5 point guard in this league.
That's why he's so passive. He's scared to go to the hole because he don't feel like he gonna make it.
So do y'all feel like Lonzo is the 3rd option?
Yeah.
The 3rd option.
Yeah. I was. Yeah.
He was. It didn't look good every game. He was inconsistent at it, but his
Yeah.
Wasn't
consistency to be
comfortable, man.
because he not comfortable attacking the rim, bro. He
That's right.
got to get comfortable being in that paint, attacking the rim, get to the free throw line. If he gets to the free throw line 4 or 5 times a game, that turns his whole everybody's idea of him as a player all the way around.
It got to, because
Get to the free throw line 5 times a game.
he improved as a 3-point shooter thanks to Freddie V. Reworked his shot and improved statistically across the board. It's not too much bad shit you can say about Lonzo Ball. I mean, one thing I know for certain that he does adjust. If you give him the proper scheme and you give him tell him what you want him to do and let him do it consistently, he can run that team. And that's oftentimes we seen the buffoonery of what happened with Eric Bledsoe sitting on top of the team, not confident, throwing the ball away, running and then jumping into people and didn't hit one of the 2 free throw shots. Crap like that is embarrassing, man. So point guard play for the Pelicans was not good this year. You need somebody to control that ball, to find out who, with all these talents we got with Zion or BI, you need somebody to say, okay, it's time for me to get a ball to this guy. It's time for me to get a ball to this guy. And it's time for me to keep the ball and take over here and do this guy to do. And he got the vision to see around. Like you say, adding a few shooters around, but defense, man, we got to get it together. But it's all, like I said, my thing is, we're going to find the talent, but can they listen to this guy? That's what it comes down to. So look, family, we're going to end the stream on that one. James, I'd like to thank you, bro. Great points from you, bro. Appreciate you. You chime back in, bro, when you pop back here. Boss man, you bringing the energy and the passion as well, brother. I appreciate you as well, brother.
Hey, good stuff, fellas, man. Enjoy running it with y'all, man.
This is a beautiful breakdown. I like all y'all takes today. Usually I don't agree with DC on a lot of some stuff, but he's positive. That boy be like, hey, brother, look, man, you gotta think on the bright side, man. This is a half.
That's damage control right there, boss man.
But you know what? He
damage control.
He was A1 today. Y'all give him his
It's called spin.
Hey, he was on point today, but I'm just saying, are we gonna have Stan next year? I mean, after next year?
You're on a short leash, bro. That's all I got to say about
it. If you make the playoffs, I'm gonna be pissed off.
Hey, brother. If we don't make the playoffs, our eyes are keeping Zion go all the way down. So you will want them to make the playoffs, even though we got Stan.
It's like the worst of both worlds.
They're young, bro, so they want Stan to help them be disciplined, bro. That's the reason he there.
The coach,
it's like having a dad or a father. That's how they look. They want to turn them into professionals.
Hey, the coach of Mitchell Trubisky. He's gonna make the playoffs, so we stuck with his ass for 3 more years. Oh my God, no,
bro.
Y'all have a good one, man.
All right, fam. Appreciate y'all. Much love. All right, fam. Appreciate y'all. All right, that was 2 really great calls. I appreciate all the family members chiming in. And Brother Damien asked the question, Q, DC, is it back to 82 games? It's not. That is yet to be determined, but the goal of the
I think it's going to have to be, Q, because we right on schedule to run the regular. They could start back up in October, I believe, right?
Well, that was
they're going to start at Christmas like how they want to.
Well, the original plan. Well, the original plan was to run it, and then this year, because the draft is coming up real soon, they're trying to get it back on the regular essence, to get it back where they get it back around to it. So I think 1 more year, but I think it's in the plan for them to push it back up to 82 games. But that still has to be worked out, between the players. So I word on the street is they're supposed to go for 82, but they got to work that thing out with the players because they had to negotiate when the season started the last time and then the C19 stuff. And I think they got 1 more revolution before they kick back to where they accustomed to being at. So they don't.
But you forgetting about all the talk about them not wanting to compete with the NFL.
I know
so
that.
The fact of them wanting to kick their season off around Christmas, it's just the perfect time to keep it that way.
We'll see. C19, bro. Gonna be a C20.
If they do it like that, why wouldn't they be able to have 82 games? They'll start competing with baseball a little bit.
Well,
most of the people who love basketball and ain't no real baseball fans like that.
Well, I mean, we're gonna see, DC. Like I said, it's still even though the point is to get it back to 82 games. Right now, the word is to get it back to 82, but right now, as it stands, I think they're gonna rock with what they got as it is. We'll see how it go, man. This is a topsy turvy world we living in. This ain't what we accustomed to. There's still a lot of stuff to go here, but we'll see, fam. We'll see how it all goes. All right. KK says, DC, where's my 2 hot dogs? What's a Reddish? He was talking about Cam Reddish all show, KK.
You missed your Reddish, baby. You missed it.
He was on here talking about Cam Reddish, and he'll trade Cam Reddish for BI and all that. That dude,
right? Would you stop saying that bullshit, bro? I ain't never tried to trade Cam Reddish for BI, bro.
Man, you told me that off show.
They number 8 pick.
Don't try to explain it.
Another, no, that's what I said. That was my original thing.
Stop explaining, DC. Explain.
I got to do a little explaining because I tried not explaining, and it just keep on going on and on and on.
Spin master, damage control. All right. So with that being said, listen,
I ain't no damn public skew.
Anyway, listen, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for hollering at y'all in the show. Much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all. Much love to the family members. Please feel free to the like button, family. Please feel free to share the show in your stream. We will return next Saturday with the Pelican post-game report. We'll open up the lines again and cover all the latest news, notes on your New Orleans Pelicans. So with that being said, we're going to top out on that. DC, you chewing on Mishwalk? Or you are able to do the Pelicans a chant. Oh, well, ain't a chant, but the Pelicans $1 million.
We won't bow down. We will never get punked. Ain't that what they said, Q?
That's what they said.
It was we won't bow down,
and both of them happened at the same season.
Huh? That was the
Stan said we won't be punked. But we were done both of that in the same season. They bowed down and got punked. So I mean, hey man,
but they was looking Japanese this season, bro. All them balls they was doing, bro.
Well, listen, bro. Only thing I can tell you at the end of the day, fam, is that we got to get it right because the word is on. Let me tell you something, fam. The pressure is on David Griffin, baby. 3rd year. Yeah. Coming into this thing, the pressure's on Griffin, baby, and his coach, SVG. We're going to see how it all shakes. We're going to have a great year, fam. All right, so with that, being said, you got a 55-inch TV, I see you. So see all the boogers in your nose, DC, so you don't need to get that close. All right, DC, go ahead, bro. You got the phrase that pays, bro. What we doing?
Oh, yeah, bro. You know I always got that because you got to keep them in check, Big Q. Let me tell you something. I got to do my hand like you. Let me tell you something. When they come at you talking trash about your Pelicans, you look them dead in your eye. And it's the off season, baby. You can say it in whatever accent you want. Tell them you better get the flock out of here. And go flock yourself. Oh! Burko. I'll see you, David.
That's what's happening, man. That's what I'm talking about. Much love to the flock. Big ups to the family members. Thank y'all for being in the building. And we're going to see y'all next Friday. Peace. Much love.
You're listening to the